Hello everybody, welcome to the God Mode channel. I am your host, Jaso / the Wizard / the DM, GM, whatever you'd like to call me. Welcome to our Friday night D&D night. Tonight we're playing Session 12 of Lucent Odyssey, our D&D plus Oregon Trail style merger. Who else is joining me on this fine Friday evening?
Hey everybody, it's me, it's Luke. I am playing
Lincoln,
who is a Warforged Fey Wanderer Ranger.
As the sign says, Tyne is lost in the woods again. I think he's celebrating his birthday. Happy birthday, buddy. But I'm Slim, and I'll be playing your boy Uncle Jimmy, a bugbear rogue.
Hey, Kyle playing Professor Bark, Furbolg Alchemist Artificer, Circle of the Moon Druid, Dean of Natural Sciences at the illustrious Ravasaturn.
Hey guys, it's me, your girl, Amanda. I'm playing Opie, the Swarmkeeper Ranger. I was lazy tonight and didn't put on any makeup, so I'm playing around with filters, but I won't keep this on.
You need to get a voice change like me and Luke so you can do a voice with it.
It looks like you got stung by bees, so it's a good thing that
I'm happy to have you all. Discord says, "You all right, man? You're looking a little."
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Some quick housekeeping. I'll keep it short, of course. As always, a huge thank you to the character artists for our beautiful character art this campaign, Amanda Otten. Go follow her over on her socials. That's her handle in the chat for her Twitter, at least. Go give her some love. She may have some commissions open too. If anybody out there is ttrpg, maybe DM or player, wants to get some commission stuff for either themselves or maybe their players. She did a fantastic job, so I always like to head up the stream by giving her a big old props. Quick shout out, we use Twitch channel points here on the channel. You can build up your points and use them for cool things like +1s for your rolls, the random elated or forlorn condition. You all in chat, if you plan to use any of that, make sure and let me know if I have that turned on or not. I'm pretty sure I just kept it on from last week, but hit me up if you need me to turn it back on. We have some other stuff. We usually do a community challenge, but again, like I said, I want to maybe spread that out a little bit. We had quite a few there at the beginning of this campaign, but now I want to give a couple sessions of breathing room in between each so that the party is not getting inundated with random stuff out of nowhere every other session. So we also use stream stickers here on the channel, so if you mouse over, you'll see the purple heart over there. You can slap stickers down and show your love for the channel. We use a ton of homebrew rules here, and I'm usually spinning 9 plates between doing the stream and doing a very interesting new DM experience for me, doing this open-ended sort of hex crawl style thing. So I'm usually pretty distracted, so if I miss any of your comments or raids or subscriptions, it's all duly appreciated. Just know that I'm very busy and I can't pay attention to all of it, but I love it all the same. And if you want like any insight into the rules for this campaign or how the homebrew stuff works, you're going to see that floating log over at the side of the screen. It's always going to be there, shuffling through the different chat commands that you can use to kind of keep track along with us for the resources in the wagon, or take a look at how things are going in terms of how the rules and mechanics work for this game, since there's a lot of sort of custom homebrew mechanics specifically for this sort of hex crawl adventure. So check all that out. Keep your eyes peeled over there if you ever want some insight into any of that, or ask chat. Sometimes it's very nice of my players here. They usually kind of keep an eye on chat and interact with you all. So if you have questions, throw them in there and you can ask some of those people in the chat if you have questions. That is really it for my spiel. I have a free seat on, make sure and follow our socials, and I have a free seat, 1 seat left on my Thursday night pro DMing games at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're interested, hit me up. That is a full spelljammer campaign. We're only a couple sessions in. Perfect time to join. With that said and out of the way, I'm going to play our typical intro into Lucent Odyssey, and in the meantime, in the background, me and my players are going to be rolling die to see who wants to give the recap from last week or who will be forced to. And we'll see about inspiration cards and stuff like that. So we'll be right back. right, welcome back, everybody. Is everybody happy with their cards? Does anyone want to trade inspiration? Or are you good with what you got?
Any one of our strikers need to pick 2. We got Devil's Bargain.
Does that give you an extra bonus action?
No.
Then no.
Alright, we're good.
I think me and Kevin are gonna switch because I'm
He's not here.
skilled.
He'll never
do.
know.
The other one will increase his save, so if anything, he's good to use as a secondary character. That'd be it.
Alright, sounds good to me. Let's see, in terms of your rolls for D20 stuff. Uh-oh, Opie. Oh, no.
It's me.
Uh-oh. Opie!
Oh,
If you wouldn't mind, please inform us. Let us know what happened last time on
Lucent Odyssey.
So last time, we got to the codices. I think it's how you say it. I really wanted the tooth of the Jabberwock or whatever it was. Professor was being a buzzkill, but Mr. Lincoln helped me get one. But anyways, we all split up into groups of 2. I forget where everybody went, but basically we all got some different stuff. I helped the Toad King get some book called Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. There were these really scary librarian things, but they just wanted us to be quiet, so. And then we left there and we headed to the epithelium, and we met this guy. We helped him back to the epithelium. He's probably a serial killer, but that's okay. And then we went to what shop does that guy have?
Key Smith.
shop, right?
I think so.
He's a keysmith. of some
Yes,
sort.
yeah, he's a keymaker. Keymaker locksmith.
And it's Paltrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we went to Paltrow at his shop because there was a quest that his wife was missing, but he doesn't have a wife. So, don't know.
That is where you last left off last week. Thank you, OP/Manor, for that recap. You ended off in Epicedium, getting a couple sausages or hot dogs from one of the meat merchants that you gave a little bit of a ride to, and found yourselves over in Epicedium, one of the, what at least appears to be, from what you've seen so far, a nice, relatively open and busy city. So, with that said, what would you like to do? You were just talking, sharing the parchment that had the quest written on it by what you're all assuming to be Paltrow himself. He has just taken a look at this parchment that you pulled off of the quest board from the Helper's hand, instructing you all to please come to Epicedium, as Paltrow believed that something was wrong and that his wife was in danger. But as you have approached him and speak to him, he looks at the note confused, asking if this was a joke and mentioning that it does appear to be his handwriting, but he doesn't have a wife.
Strange. Could we take a look around inside, perhaps?
Yes, of course. Take a look around, see what you need to buy. If there's anything, I'm one of the best key makers in town, so if there's anywhere you need to get into, or perhaps lock up specifically, I am your gnome.
Can we have who's got the mystery key?
I believe we used it on the
It
tome.
It didn't open the door.
It doesn't
It-
poof then?
It only poofs when it opens something.
I would have it then, but I deleted it off my sheet because I
You
thought it poofed
goober!
when we used it.
No.
Okay, I
Put it
would
back.
have it. All right, it's back.
Yeah, it's got like
Ask
a, 5% chance to function, but when it does, that's when it's finally just kind of Disappears.
Because I
You
was
gotta get a natty 20 with it.
I was real down on that item then, because I was like, well, what's the use if it only blows up every single time you use it?
No, you keep it.
Ask if he can make a copy of that.
Hello, Mr. Baltros. How are you doing there? Sorry about the confusion about the note. Sometimes, things get a little bit crazy, but I was wondering if you have business openings that we can maybe strike a deal.
Of course. What can I do you for, my friend?
Well, we are the well-wishers, and as we travel across this cradle here, we found this that might be of your expertise, you say? It's a magical key of sorts. Are you able to understand this and, maybe give us your best work to make copies?
He pulls out of like a pocket on his shirt. You see his folded up what look like reading glasses or small spectacles with kind of like small rounded lenses as he kind of pops them on and takes a look. Let me take a look, if you don't mind. You must be adventurers.
Yes, we are the well-wishers. We are venturing all over the cradle to try to bring the light back to this area and open up the Radiant Wells.
That's what it must be. Plenty of people moving in and out, traffic-wise, over at the Helpless Hand Guild. Likely someone went there and put in a message, something regarding maybe a family member or someone of their own, maybe similarly named to me, Paltrow. Maybe either a misspelling or miscorrection. Yes, you said this key, magical. I'll be honest, I am a fine craftsman in key making and locksmithing. Haven't had a ton of experience with the magic side of things. This key of some arcane nature, what is the properties of such a thing? What does this one do?
Allegedly, what we have been told is sometimes with a slight bit of luck, it can open anything we apply it to.
Really?
That's what we're told.
Well, as good as the magic on this key may be, it certainly won't be opening any of my locks, I can assure you that. Go ahead, try it. Bring me any lock off the walls and give it a shot.
Don't do it. Don't fucking do it.
You, little trick with that key, it only works once. We use it, it unlocks your lock. What do we get?
Well, that's the thing. There aren't any real worries. It's considered a proof of my craftsmanship. I'm sure that this key may be powerful, but an item so strong to unlock any form that any craftsman of my nature over the 30 expansive years I've been in this trade has done such a thing? Pah! Please.
It was finely crafted to surpass any form of Metal Gears, my friend.
I wish. I wish.
Lincoln stands up really straight and his antlers almost reach the ceiling, and he says,
If it unlocks the lock, you owe us a favor. And the day may come when we call upon you to fulfill this favor, whatever it may be.
and he extends his hand, like as a handshake.
He sees your hand extended and turns to the rest of the party and says, he's with you, right?
Yes, that is Lankin. He's an esteemed member of the Well-Wishers. Very, very skilled craftsman when it comes to field dressing, anything that could possibly need dressing. And he's very, how you say, perceptive, if you will, in the dark.
He looks over your form, Lincoln, and you can see there's just a little bit of maybe intimidation in his eyes before he sort of like grabs his collar and straightens his vest that he wears and throws his hand out and says, I told you before, I'm confident in my craftsmanship, and gives you a hearty shake, at least for a gnome.
The deal is struck. Mm-hmm. Take the lock from the wall.
Pick anyone you'd like.
There's a cool way to pick this lock.
Roll a number.
Just
You
throw a
mean-
random dagger at the wall.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
Oh, you-
Opie wants to make a check to see what the most complicated lock might be.
Okay. Give me. So, like, you peer around Opie. You see that you are all not the only ones in here. There appears to be like another hooded patron. You can't really see like any of their facial features. They're wearing like a long robe and hood. They're a little shorter, just a little taller than you, Opie. Not very tall. And they appear to sort of like have they're like, you can't really see their face because they're looking at some of the locks on the walls too. But you can give me, if you'd like to, you could either ask the shopkeep or give me some type of like investigation check to see which of these locks on the wall looks like it would be the toughest to crack into.
Well, no, that's a good point. Opie's gonna turn to the shopkeep and say, "What's your most complicated, hardest lock?" The
Really
best
going for
lock
broke,
here.
are you?
Yeah.
Give me just a second, he says, throwing up a finger, and you see he pops down. He's actually sitting on like a stool to kind of make him a little taller than he is, and he goes behind the shop counter for a second and pulls a curtain at the side. You hear the sound of shifting metal, like things moving around in a drawer, and he comes back out, and you see he's holding it in two hands. It is a large, intricate lock with a carved pattern in metal on the sides of it, and he sets it down and says, "This, one of my latest pieces. More than just you, in terms of adventurers, have come through this way, and many of them, specifically those who traverse here through the passage, do not want bad things to happen to their resources. Very important to keep those. I have been asked and commissioned on a variety of occasions to craft incredibly difficult locks for just such those people. Now, this one cannot be bought. This is a commission, but I am the most confident out of my locks that remain here, considering the commission price that I was given, that this will be the most difficult to break into."
When he went behind the curtain, I'm going to kind of like wave my hand at them and point to me and ask for the key. Like, give me the key. I'd like to try and do it.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good.
I'm going to use the key, but I also want to try and use a sleight of hand or a pick lock check while doing it to see if
It's
if
going to
it doesn't
be
work.
very difficult only because he is like elbows on counter, like just staring down at his giant lock and watching you step up, Uncle Jimmy. He's like intent on watching to see if you stick this key in and are able to just turn it and unlock it.
All right. I'll try normally, and then if I'll just kind of jimmy it and try and
Ew.
that's part of the name.
Okay.
And see if I can take a sleight of hand if it doesn't open.
Okay.
But
So-
it doesn't matter because you're about to fucking nail this 20.
Exactly. I'm about to fucking roll a 1 and explode.
Story crit. Story crit.
Alright. D20, right?
D20 on a 20 it works, otherwise it doesn't.
Oh,
Oh man.
Uncle
It's
Jimmy,
close.
you take the magic key and insert it into the lock. You go to turn it with your bugbear hand with some strength, but try as you might, it does not turn the 90 degrees, and the lock at the top does not pop open. There's a
Oh.
beaming smile on the gnome's face as he looks up and says, "Very sorry, my friends. As I said, my craftsmanship speaks for itself."
Now I'm gonna try and take a sleight of hand. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. It's magical key, magical lock. You know. Give me a sec.
Very well, he says, but he still stares intently, like 5 inches away. You got to do it at disadvantage. He's staring right at it.
Oh, you're kidding me! I
No.
just rolled a nat
He's-
20. No.
I'm sorry. He's I mean, he's a foot away watching this happen.
I would have used my advantage.
The natty 20 there. That was
Group
the sad part.
group deception roll to cause him to flinch.
Oh man, I would have used my card. All right, one more time. Son of a.
Man, swipe before you roll.
Oh, close.
Oh,
24.
That was close.
I'll throw in the +1 to make it my last +1 to make it an even 25, if that's okay.
Okay. So explain how you're doing this with the key.
So sliding the key in initially, feeling the, assuming it's a tumbler style lock or any of
You
the such.
assume.
As it's going in, I'd slide in very slow and just twitching my hand a little bit like I'm a little nervous, playing it off like I'm nervous, and then trying to feel any of the grooves or different angles as I'm sliding the key in and slowly turning it as I would perceive that I've unlocked it.
You go to do this, a practice you've done many times. However, that sixth sense that you have, being someone who is adept at breaking into locks, you don't feel the typical pattern as you would go to kind of shift it through and turn it. Something is different about this lock, something that's very uncommon and unfamiliar to you. And you watch again as the Paltrow's face beams with a smile, and you're unable to turn it.
I pull out a single gold piece and hand it to him and shake his hand and say, "Fair enough."
Thank you very much, he says, sliding it under his vest.
You are a very fortunate man.
I am confident in my practices. Now that you've seen my wares, folks, what could I interest you all in? I understand you have this wonderful magic key, but certainly you could use a lock on some of your equipment, or perhaps you need a key crafted. Certainly, I may not be incredibly experienced with the arcane, but in the mundane, even though it may seem simple, I'm a master craftsman of keys as well.
You got any sets of manacles or cuffs or anything like that?
Manacles and cuffs? No, actually, no.
Then I'll take checking your prices first. Probably two of you just standard locks.
Okay, very well. Certainly. I can show you over here to these, of course. You see him pop down, and he actually pushes up like a little pop-up wooden area of the counter and comes around to the front and pulls you over, Uncle Jimmy, to some of the locks on the wall. These are most of the standard things, 10 gold pieces apiece. These should serve you pretty well. Pretty difficult to break into unless you're an experienced thief. And around here, not too many people get old enough or live long enough to become experienced, at least those who are outside of the city walls. Though I must say, within the city walls, things are drama-free, as it were.
I examine the locks for a second and start talking about his craftsmanship and play it off with Thieves' Cant to see if he catches on. Just letting him know that I might happen to know a few things about locks or the such.
You say this, and he seems confused at some of the strange terms that you toss in. He doesn't say anything about it, but you get the sense that in between the languages, you're throwing in some key terms that any thief or sort of underhanded person who would typically know Thieves' Cant. It doesn't seem as though, at the very least, from what you can tell, Paltrow isn't picking up on it.
I tell him I'm going to buy one lock and say, and maybe some future business. Maybe we roll back through here. Maybe I'll come back here another time with some friends and we'll pick up a few. But yeah, I'll take one for now. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take a couple days while you're here. If you're travelers, adventurers, then I'm sure you've probably had your fair share of time trying to trot out through the muck that is the unfortunate area, the region of the passage here is the Grey Doldrums. We exist here as a interspersed town amongst many of the others, sort of like a main trade hub of the entire region. So certainly fresh beds and fresh food is here for those of you wary travelers traveling through. You should take a night or two here before you continue your travels.
Oh, Is there anybody else here named Paltrow?
I suppose there's always the chance, though admittedly I've never heard of such a person.
So you're not worried about this quest that said you had a wife missing?
No, I certainly would be more worried if I had a wife, but no. I've been single all of my life. Haven't found a lucky woman just yet.
Do you live here?
Oh, yes, I do.
In this building?
Well, upstairs, he says, pointing a finger.
May we see your domicile?
Why?
It pertains to the investigation related to our quest. The paper we showed you.
What if somebody is like out to get you or something?
Well,
It could be hiding under your bed right this second.
That could be.
Either of you make a persuasion or intimidation check.
Yeah, that's going to be intimidate.
Could I take an insight while they're doing that?
It's
sure.
going to be 17 for me because my Beyond 20 still isn't working.
Seems like he's being honest with Jimmy.
Okay.
Uncle Jimmy rolled a 16. I saw it.
I'm not gonna roll because both
Anyway,
my persuasion and intimidation are -1.
That was a 17 on intimidation, Jason.
He takes a second. I would allow... I don't have any natural enemies that I know of, but...
That you know of.
I suppose, seeing my line of work, I could have pissed off some unseeming rogue or vagabond who may not have been able to break into an adventurer's gear to grab some things, provided it was my work that kept their fingers from being able to pry open them. I would not want to think that somewhere out there in the days ahead something may happen. Look, I would allow one of you to spend 10 minutes looking through my things upstairs, but I get to watch the whole time, and you are not to take anything.
Of course.
We work best as a team, sir, so I really think more of us should go up there.
Make a persuasion check.
Could I, 8.
Oh, yeah, that was an 8.
I just don't feel comfortable with that, unfortunately. One of you will do fine. I'm not that worried, to be honest with you, but I suppose you are right. A quick check from those of you who would directly have experience out on the pass outside of the city walls would do well to maybe just take a quick look for me.
Who has, like, the best investigation?
Or perception. Could be
Yeah.
good too.
My perception's 9, my investigation's 4.
Yeah, I was thinking that was a natural choice.
Oh, okay. Well then.
Before we walk out, though, I do want to try and get him to write me a bill of sale for a lock, so we can measure it against the post that we got.
Oh, yes. Walks over and grabs a quill and says, I'll write one for the one your bugbear friend bought. Yes, of course.
Ah, excellent, thank you. Tyne, look at his magnificent hands. You can tell they're craftsman hands. Tyne is going to actually reach out and grab his hands and make a medicine check. Look and see if he maybe took a ring off.
Okay, he's very weirded out by the fact that this old, haggard man is touching his hands.
Ah, yes. They look beautiful.
God, you gotta be like 7 times his height too. That's gotta be uncomfortable.
Oh, no, that's Tyne doing that.
Oh, okay.
Is that
He's got the medicine.
14 overall?
Yeah. Look and see
You
if, like, he took some ring or signifier of marriage off.
you
Maybe they were
see
necklaces.
just the slightest bit, incredibly subtle bit of discoloration on his ring finger. But there's no ring or anything on there. He actually wears a gold ring, but it's on his middle finger.
They are steady hand.
Is there something wrong, sir? Please stop touching my hands.
It's the weirdest day of this guy's life.
I feel like he could go off on like that weird wall in the labyrinth. These strong hands. But anyways, we'll press on. No, nothing wrong.
Okay, I'm going to finish this bill of sale and have you pick the person who you want to make sure there's no one after me to take a quick look upstairs, but that's it.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
gonna lean down to Jimmy and be like,
Look for anything that implies he is being untruthful. A larger bed. Feminine clothing. What else does it mean to be married?
A lot of patience. Yeah.
Check for patience.
Is that her name? Patient? Alright, cool. So we've got our handwriting sample. We can
Yeah,
walk outside.
as Tyne finishes very oddly and creeping him out from touching his hands, he kind of pulls them away and very quickly and with a little more hurried nature finishes your bill of sale and kind of pushes it across the counter to you. There you are, sir.
Oh, thank you. Bark will take it. Yes, I guess away to your domicile then.
All right. The bugbear, you're the one coming up.
Yes, sir. At your service.
All right. I need everyone else to exit the shop. I for security purposes, of course. He says.
Of course.
Absolutely.
we do that.
You hear the door opening, and that figure that was in like a hood and robe, who hears the sound of him shooing them out, seems to have stepped out already. The door's kind of hanging open as you all turn to see.
As soon as we exit, Tynar says he took it off. And he goes on to elaborate that he saw the little dent in his finger and all the things you catch up. He catches you up.
Uncle
Weird.
Jimmy, are you inside with him?
Yes.
All right. He steps on over, and you see him kind of like flip a sign. It's like carved in wood. The opening to closed as he flips it, and he uses a key to lock the door. All right. Yes, of course. To be honest, just in case I've happened to piss off any brigand out there who wasn't able to bust into some supplies, but very quickly, he says, as he ushers you behind the counter and begins heading up the stairs.
Before he starts to go up, I put my hand on his shoulder to try to reassure him a little and say, "Hey, just so you know, we're out here doing business and work, and if this doesn't, turn out to be anything, now we got a case for you. We might be able to help you out, find out, who's maybe doing this. I can't speak for the group, but you got someone after you. Maybe we could blow them off the case. Try and get you some more information. Don't worry, I'm not here to hurt you, man."
Honestly, not all that worried about it, to be honest with you. But just to be sure, come, he says, and he begins to head up the stairs as they kind of creak and groan underneath his feet.
Yes.
Those of you outside, are you doing anything in particular? Are you having conversations? What are you doing while this is kind of happening inside?
Yes. There's a minor retcon. Bark actually doesn't walk outside. He transforms into a spider as soon as the gnome turns around and tries to sneak up behind them to look around with Jimmy.
Give me a stealth roll to be able to do this, because he would have stayed to make sure he watched as everyone filed out of the door.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'd say you could try to transform into a spider and then crawl quickly back in before he closed the door as you all stepped out.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Don't
we
get
see it.
smashed in the door.
Yeah, don't roll a natty one.
I think the spider has a bonus to stealth, so I'm gonna try and see what that was.
Yeah,
Stealth
if you
four.
get
Yeah,
the bonus, for you'll be in your spider form. So if you get the bonus, add that.
Yeah. Wait, 15.
15 is fine. You quickly walking outside and beginning to see the door close and hearing the conversation between him and Uncle Jimmy. Behind it, you very quickly, with a quick spell, shift your body, transform. I don't. It's like a natural ability, or is that a spell? I think that's just a natural ability, right?
Yeah, it's an ability.
Okay, so you just, without even needed to saying anything, you
Yep.
just having this druidic nature as part of you, your body begins to shrink and shift. You hear far away, all of you look and see two school children looking over and beginning to scream as Professor Bark begins to shrink down to a spider size. But you've heard them shriek and move around as they're playing, so it's not like it really garners any more attention. But they definitely see Professor Bark turning into a tiny spider as they yell,
Yeah.
drop the ball that they're playing with in City Street, and begin running. And then you quickly, Professor Bark, scurry inside just as the door closes behind you. And you hear this conversation between Uncle Jimmy and Paltrow as he begins to lead Uncle Jimmy behind the counter. How are you following, Kyle?
I would stick on probably the ceiling if I could get the broom to get up there.
Okay.
No, he's a little gnome. He's probably, yeah, that's ceiling. Just kind of crawl around on the ceiling.
Okay. So you like follow them, but then you kind of start doing a diagonal thing. You like get over to one of the walls and you start crawling up it. And as you see Uncle Jimmy placing a hand on the shoulder of Paltrow, reassuring him, you use that kind of momentary period to get up on the roof. And as you see Paltrow turning around, leading up the stairs, Uncle Jimmy following. Both of you follow him, not knowing that you're there, Professor Bark. He leads you up the stairs into it's not very large. It's like a loft area. You can see there's two small rooms connected to this kind of loft bedroom. One that looks like it leads to some sort of maybe cooking area, like a small kitchen spot. Another one that seems to, lead to some like bathroom or restroom area. The main loft area here has it's a pretty sizable bed. It's probably like queen size. It's comfortable looking enough. You see a couple, like a bureau that would hold some clothing in it. You see that there's a sort of drawer with a lamp on the side next to the table. You see there's a closet with a slightly ajar wooden door with some kind of similar clothing. You kind of see a similar vest that he is currently wearing in there now, probably a change of clothes throughout the week. He leads you up to the top and at least speaking to you, but you still following behind Professor Bark. He turns and looks to you, Uncle Jimmy, and says, all right, if you have any questions, you can ask, but there, your 10 minutes begins now, he says, and he kind of points over at one of the wooden clocks on the wall as it continues to click.
First, I want to take a perception check just to get a quick scan to make sure nothing's like initially out of sorts. Like there's not someone up here hiding. I don't think he's waiting to pounce on me. Just like a quick scan of the room before
Where
I do
is
like
he?
an investigation check.
Sure.
At advantage. I'll help that.
A small spider taps on your boot and points.
Well, I'm just thinking like between the two of us, one of us would notice.
Sure.
It was that day,
Gross.
just a kid from Neo Gokyo. The spider crawled up my leg, you see, bit me, and it all changed from that day.
Ratatouille you as a little tiny spider.
Oh God.
You looking around with a pretty strong perception check, Uncle Jimmy. You do not see any hidden figure or anything out of place. You can see underneath the bed frame. There's not much down there, other than maybe like a small bit of clutter. a couple pieces of paper that seem a little dusty and stuff like that. You see like a letter or two that's kind of fallen underneath the kind of bedstand drawers next to the bed. You kind of see into the closet with a perception check and take a couple seconds to walk over and peer in, push the clothes back and forth. Doesn't seem like there's anything in there. You just take a second with that perception to, like walk around without touching much, just peering around, making sure that there's no strange figures either hiding or lurking or spying from anywhere. Nothing seems out of sorts.
Nah, it seems like you ain't got anybody in here to begin with now. Let me take a few minutes. I helped with a few of these things before. They like to maybe get at your windows, might be traces of stuff, and I'm going to do my earnest best to kind of Sherlock Holmes it, run my finger over the window seals just a little bit, give a good stare underneath the bed to see if there's anything else. I know you said there were letters. I'd try to get a peek at those, but see if there are any false panels in the walls or something in the closet. Not being obvious, punching the walls, but just slowly run a hand over anything I can.
Sure. Give me like an investigation check then, and then if you want to try and help out Professor Bark in whatever way you want, you can.
You said we're at the window? Because I'd like to make a separate check if we're within.
I mean, you can technically be wherever you want. It doesn't seem like he's noticed you. You're like spider size, so, unless you crawl across him or just, crawl in a very visible spot, he's not going to necessarily notice you.
Fair enough. I want to check I'll let him do his check first.
Sure.
I'm going to do a general scan. As much as I love this card, this is pretty important, I feel, so I'll use my advantage here. It says choose two, so, I mean, I gain an extra 30 feet, so I'll ask that I, while rolling at advantage, that I can try to cover the whole room.
Okay, sure.
All right.
Oh!
Sweet Merry Christmas.
Didn't even need it. Well, you get a good boy card.
Love to see it.
What?
Grab one of those. Were they always this big?
Yeah.
Am I high right now? I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And even though it's a crit with a 24, in case he's a locksmith and he might have hid something, I'm going to use the guidance that I got from Forte.
Okay, sure. Add that on there. 25 with a natural 20. So you kind of hanging back, Professor Bark, just watch as Uncle Jimmy scans the room, moving around. You begin to take a look. First, searching the outer rooms, you find the kitchen area. You could just kind of run it over, looking for any signs of anything that may be out of place or, any significant red flags that stick out to you. Nothing there. The bathroom is fine as you kind of pull the curtain to the bathtub and peer in and check around. You come back out into the main sort of loft bedroom area and begin to just sort of do a once-over. You move around kind of looking through the clothing, things like that. You're about at the tail end of your search, and even with a higher check, even though feeling as though you've been very thorough, you kind of running a finger along the window seal, checking the dust, noticing that there's no fingerprints on the exterior that would lead you to believe that there's any form of anyone peering in or anything like that up here. You just decide to do the last bits of your rounds and take a look at the bed, kind of take a peek under the covers and pull up the mattress a little bit, nothing out of place. You lean down underneath, and underneath the bed you kind of see some of those shuffled papers. They look kind of old and almost look like, as you kind of peer down, pulling one of them over with kind of a furry paw, you notice they're just kind of like scribbles of ideas for the inner workings of like locks and stuff like that. Probably just ideas he may have had in his sleep that he's just kind of scribbled on some parchment that have maybe fallen down here. You kind of run over and there's just a single envelope, as you noticed earlier, that's underneath the drawers. And as you place a hand on it, ready to just sort of turn things in, you feel there is something inside of the letter. Something small, but something round inside of the letter.
Is he looking
the
at me while
envelope.
I'm doing this?
He's like watching you, but you know, he's not like watching your every move. He's just making sure that you're not like trying to take anything. You're like, oh, he's like standing at the head of the stairs, kind of leaning on the rail, and at this point you're over on the other side of the bed, kind of down on your hands and knees, so he doesn't necessarily notice that you're like grabbing at this envelope.
I'm going to try a sleight of hand to see if I could either open it to peer inside or slip it away.
Okay, sure. I'd say do it at advantage since you're a little out of view from where he is.
All right. Ugh, 14 total.
You making a quick flick of your eyes to see where he is. Continue to run your other paw against the ground, checking for things, making it seem like you're continuing the investigation while your right hand slowly slips the envelope up and just very subtly kind of shifts it underneath the left side of your vest as you slowly kind of pull yourself back up, kind of throwing one of your elbows on the bed. As you pull yourself up, he says, "Well, any signs of potential danger? Anyone... I mean, of course, I don't know how they would, because I have quite a few locks set outside the perimeter. You saw it. No one going to be breaking in here."
You know, you're absolutely right. I apologize if it was too intrusive. To be fair, and I pull out a sheet of paper from my cartographer's kit, and I write down a false address to somewhere on Neogokyo and hand it to him. Say, I got a few business partners and friends who might need some lops. There's nothing better than getting a lock off planet because, they might not know how to open it. You got some good magic and stuff. Keep that. Maybe we could get in contact, do some bigger business, more than one lock, maybe a handful.
Wait. Off planet?
I wink to him, got one of the towns over.
Oh, yes, of course. Travelers, interesting language, yes. Far away town, I'm sure. Well, provided
it's
I
alien
need something
here,
like that, I could take a trip, sure.
Again, I shake his hand and try to be as cordial as possible. Notice giving an out to the spider to maybe crawl back to me. Just making it seem a little exaggerated, the goodbye.
Yeah, as you're finishing up your chat, Professor Bark, was there anything you wanted to do while you're still up here?
I wanted to check the window if there were any gaps so we could sneak back in. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll see if there's enough room for a spider to fit through.
Sure.
On the windows. Uh, 14, I'll make it 15.
With the 15, you do not see any gaps here. It seems pretty tight and well sealed when it is shut.
Oh boy. Alright. Spider Bark will hope that Jimmy was successful. But he knows he was. And start making his way out.
Sure.
I'm stuck in here. Oh shit.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Let's head back down. I thank you again for spending a little extra time to just keep an eye out for old Paltrow. I wish you the best. And as I said, this is a fine establishment you found yourselves in. A calm amongst the storm here of perhaps maybe the entirety of the passage itself. So. Take a load off while you're here. Grab you a couple drinks. I know the travel out there is difficult and there are a lot of strange creatures, and I know that at night the darkness floods in and it's not helpful for anyone, so take care of yourself, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Maybe I'll catch you for a drink sometime too. Have a good one, man.
Yes, that doesn't sound terrible, he says, and he steps, leading you down the stairs with you kind of sneakily following behind Professor Bark. You see him unlock 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the locks on the doors, each of them with a separate mechanism to unlock. As he opens it again, all of you kind of standing outside amongst each other, you see Paltrow open the door, and Professor Barkin's spider form scuttle out sneakily, as well as Uncle Jimmy step out. I appreciate you folks for taking a look at my troubles, but again, I'm not too worried. But someone may have been named Bowtrow or something similar, a misspelling of a name, perhaps. Either way, I hope that whomever's wife is actually in danger is helped at some point. Perhaps you could speak to whatever your representative at the Helper's Hand is and see if maybe that belongs to someone else and who it might be. But of course, you're always welcome back at Paltrow's if you need any sort of keys crafted or locks to ensure that no one gets into your things.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Of course, he says, and he steps behind the door, and you see the closed wooden side flip back to open. I'll be seeing you all, and he waves before closing his door behind.
It's a shame the magic key didn't work. He almost struck a bargain with the Fae.
Wait, what? The who?
The Fae.
I know. I quickly hand the key back to him. I ain't no dealing with no Fae.
What?
Wait,
Mr. Lincoln, the Fae.
That's
true.
different. That's different. Working with and striking the deal.
Yes.
There's
what
only.
did you discover in the house?
I kind of smile and take a few more steps forward. I found a little something we'll have to take a look at. Maybe best if we take a few minutes and get out of earshot in case there's anybody around here, you know?
Good.
We do that. We find a quiet, secluded place to talk.
I mean, this city is pretty large, probably the largest you've seen. It would probably be a typical, medium city amongst the places outside of the passage. Here it's easily the largest. There's plenty of small, narrow alleyways and sort of interstitial pathways. Very similar to your time, Forte, back at Lasir, but much less scary. Sort of out here with some light time still happening, and even larger than Lasir is. So there's plenty of places for you to go to. You also do notice there's a tavern here. Drink your sorrows away is the title carved in wood, and you see a couple shopkeepers. It's pretty busy, but yeah, there's still equally just as many places to kind of step out of the main cobblestone walkways to walk into a small, tight-knit alley and keep to yourselves if you'd like to.
Is the envelope sealed? I'm gonna slide it out of my sleeve.
It is not sealed. Or perhaps
Okay.
maybe it once was, but it's not anymore. And on the front, as you turn it around, it says Paltrow written in a handwriting that does not look similar to the one that was on the quest parchment.
I'm gonna open it carefully as to not rip it with my giant clawed bugbear hands and
Sure.
take a peek inside.
Inside, you find a folded parchment, and as you kind of open it up with two bugbear fingers, you see inside at the bottom a ring.
Oh no. Is there any writing in there, or is it just...
As you fold open the parchment, it is a long letter that goes from front to back.
Oh boy.
It says, "Dear Paltrow,
Dear John.
it's been a hard struggle between us. And as you continue to read, Uncle Jimmy, this is a note describing a difficult experience over years between Paltrow and whoever this writer is. And they mentioned that Paltrow's insistence into his work has pulled the two apart, where once there was passion in the beginning, now there is a sort of cold detachment as Paltrow has put himself too much into his work. And this writer mentions that They still love Paltrow, but don't think now is a good time in the places that they're in for them to be together, and they need some time apart. So they mention, as they write an address here in the note, that they're going to rent out a separate place in town so that they can stay a little while to focus on their flowering business. And at the bottom, they still mention, still love you, but need some time, Beatrice.
This doesn't make sense. It sounds like he was aware. But why would he lie? And why would he put up a quest to find his missing wife if he had her location?
Maybe somebody else was, concerned about her, vanishing, and maybe he's trying to keep it on the low because he doesn't want to get her in trouble or something. I, in my line of business, we've seen people do stuff like that. You gotta go. You kind of get away from what's going on.
Sure, but why the quest?
Indeed.
Bark compares all three of the handwriting samples. We have Beatrice or Beatrix?
Beatrice. Like with a C at the end.
Beatrice's letter. We have the note on the board, and we have the bill of sale.
Give me an investigation check.
Investigation. Is anybody actually good at investigating?
I got. I'm not the
4.
smart. I'm not good.
Okay.
Plus 4, that's it.
+4. Yeah, you're good at it. You're trained in it. Go for it.
Investigation.
Nice.
Uncle Jimmy, you have done this line of work before. Subterfuge and the slightly more subtle nature of stuff like this is secondhand to you as you take a second to study all three of these writings. The bill of sale and the initial parchment from the quest board you got at the Helper's Hand seem to match up. There's a slight bit of sloppiness with the bill of sale, but of course that is likely from, with your check, you were probably able to deduce that's from Tyne kind of grabbing his hands and freaking him out. But the writing matches up perfectly as you study each of the telltale signs that one would when looking at certain lettering and seeing the style of it and comparing that and the writing style along with the others. This Beatrice note is certainly different from the other two. It's a more exaggerated, slightly more, at least from what you would deduce, like a more feminine way of writing. Kind of curvier lettering and stuff like that. Doesn't match up to Paltrow's.
I relay that to Professor Bark and the others.
Very well.
Stranger.
Did they say that she was staying at a hotel or like an apartment?
Flower shop. I think.
She mentioned that she was renting a place out, still within the city, and she, left the address on there. There's an address on there like with a certain street names. I just, you guys would know that. I don't have to tell you.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
she didn't mention that she was staying in like a flowering shop, but she did mention like she needs to focus on her business, and that's what she mentioned as the flowering business.
Well, maybe we visit her at this flowering business. Ask her why he might lie to us. Maybe he's protecting something. Maybe she knows.
Maybe he has amnesia.
There are a great many things he could be doing. That is why I don't wish to ask him again yet.
Yeah, it's a good idea. We got an expert here for that. Tyne, you're an expert on flowers, aren't you?
I am insulted personally that you ask someone other than me.
I would get
Tyne.
Professor Bark.
R. He's just a Pokemon
He
walker.
responds in Pokemon form since he's not here.
licking a ketchup bottle.
To the flower shop.
It rolls to about 10 light time, and at this point I'd say mark another one off the harmonic flux. And you all following the address, at least from what you gather, that's going to lead you to this rented abode. Across the city streets. It kind of leads you across town and leads you to an area that is a little more residential. There's not as many shops over here, and because there is still light outside, although you do see a couple travelers maybe returning to their homes for the evening, there's not nearly as much traffic as there was previously in the sort of front-loaded section and plaza of the Epicedium. And you, using this note, are able to lead yourselves over to a series of kind of very similar looking style cottages that are sort of built within the city limits. And you, using the note, Uncle Jimmy in hand, all find yourselves standing in front of what looks like any of the standard housing that has been built here.
Interesting.
It seems we have found our destination. Would anybody care to lead this conversation?
Perhaps she wouldn't take kindly to seeing me leading the way.
Very well. Professor Bark knocks on the door. Wait, are we at the flower shop or the house?
You were at the house. You were at what looks like a home address.
Did not want me to talk to her if you want her to go back to the keysmith. I'll tell you that.
There's a mentioning of a flowering business in there that Beatrice likely probably tends, but that address was not mentioned in there, and you haven't seen one along the way. You can make checks if you'd like to maybe explore the town to do that, but the note, the address on the note specifically led you to what looks like the place where she's staying, as far as you can tell from what you're putting together so far.
Okay, yeah, sorry, that was the goal, was to end up at the flower shop. It seems a little creepy to end up at her house. So,
that's fine.
So
then,
about that guy you just left.
Then I would ask for everyone to please give me an investigation check.
Everyone.
Or you could ask around with a persuasion check. Whatever form you want to give me, I'll take you know me.
Persuasion.
Like to ask people.
16.
I can't find my way around this confabin city. I tell you what.
Excuse me, child. Where did you acquire flowers as to put on a grave?
What a zero. I just see like that old pacifism card from Magic, that horrifying creature with a wreath of flowers around it.
Flowers, yeah.
Forte's just trying to like hit on every woman he sees. And it's doing terribly.
Their husbands, you know.
Do you need a little flowering yourself, perhaps at your place?
A little flower.
Flowering, deflowering, you know, anything that gets by, I say.
Jesus Christ.
It appears I have shit myself. 0.
No.
You ask around
16.
Lincoln,
16.
and there's plenty of people who are sort of like, you go through the typical rituals of people being put off by your look. Some seem more earnest than others. Some tell you that they don't know, and you get the sense that they're just saying that because they don't want to talk to a giant pile of bones. But some seem a little more earnest than others, and none of them really knows a flowering shop in the town. You, Uncle Jimmy, you did an investigation check. You, using the central hub, the plaza where most of the shops are gathered, begin to follow a layout. You have done this subterfuge thing for quite some time, and you have a decent idea of the layout of some of the kind of city makeup. And you begin to point out, okay, shops are here. There's another shop a couple roads down. Let's follow this, because that typically means there will be another shop just a few more down along this road. And you keep leading the group along. There's a couple different vendors as you keep going down, and soon you find yourselves almost very close to that sort of residential area where the address mentioned on the sheet. And as you turn a corner, as I mentioned before, entering an area that's much less traveled. There's not a whole lot of people here. It just seems to be an area where most people would be returning home. You do see the occasional small little stall, but nothing that looks like a huge shop or anything. Eventually, turning a corner down a street that doesn't have many people standing here, maybe 2 or 3, as they're sort of maybe working in their yards before getting ready for the blight time to come. Down in the distance, in the corner, you see a small little house or building, and as each of you step up to it, it reads on the front, plantery in wood. There's a couple like flowers and stuff like that on the windowsill, sort of in, like a kind of potted plant style that hang from there, and they look a little wilted, as if some of them haven't had water in a good couple days.
Uh-oh.
There's no lights that appear to come from within the shop. It seems dark inside.
Is the door locked? I try the door.
You try the door. It is, as far as you can tell, locked.
I go over to Lincoln and say, "You're doing it wrong. You gotta go up and then push. These the humidity here kind of sticks the doors." And I try to slide a hand check to see if I can. Sorry to use the word jimmy it a little to get it open.
And you're trained with these tools?
I
do it at advantage.
Nice.
Oh man.
so
Good rolls
24.
tonight.
Yeah. Compared to Poutro's locks, this one much more mundane, as you very easily, with a couple turns, feeling the sort of sixth sense of your subterfuge as you work the lock, using your 2 picks, it snaps, and you're able to turn the knob and push open the door. There's a bit of a musty smell that picks up, the smell of plants, and the interior here is a scene of green, a mixture of green and a little bit of brown, as the interior is this walls lined with different potted plants, some roses, some look like just kind of simple little paraphernalia plants that you'd have around with you. What are those plants called? I'm blanking. The small little easy ones you can take care of. What are those called? Succulents. Yeah, there's a couple succulents kind of lining some of the walls and stuff like that. There's a couple sort of like standing island tables in the center with a couple plants on it. Some hang from the ceilings. Some of them similarly to the ones outside, a little slightly hanging as though they haven't been tended to, and they still look alive, but certainly like someone has not tended to them in probably like 2 or so weeks.
I fear that our quarry may be dead or gone.
It could be. Professor Bark and Tyner, check the plants to see how long maybe they've been not watered in.
Sure.
Bark does, at advantage. Thanks, Tynar, you're such a good guy.
Oh.
22.
You check, kind of lifting up one of the leaves with a finger, Professor Bark, smelling a couple of the roses, trying to get a sense. 12, 13 days. That's about how long they haven't been watered.
Approximately a fortnight.
Do we know the rough date of when the quest went up?
You could do a pretty difficult investigation check studying the handwriting of the note. Otherwise, there's no date mentioned in the note on the quest board, unfortunately.
Dang.
The same with the letter. That'd be pretty shitty. Remember the day I left?
Yeah, no, there's no dates or anything on the letter.
Okay.
Well, can we look around inside a little more? Like maybe kind of like...
Yeah,
if
you've
there's
all
some
kind of stepped
closets.
inside. Yeah, if you'd like to peek around, you just let me know what you're doing.
Are there any suspiciously body-sized piles of mulch in here or anything like that?
Give me like a perception check.
No, but there's a body right there.
Oh, that's it's her dead body. All right, that was easy.
It's got a name tag on it.
Actually, I want to do a survival check to see if I can find signs of like habitation, like somebody that like has been here recently.
Okay, sure. Similar to the lack of attention to the plants, it doesn't appear as though anyone has been in here to upkeep any of these shops, things within. You don't see anything that gives off any sense that anyone's been sort of like loitering here.
Okay. Anybody got perception or something that they want to try?
I can try a perception. It's not gonna be as good as Jimmy's.
Jimmy, save us. Use your special eyes to find the body.
Case the joint, Jimmy.
Perception or investigation?
Whichever's higher.
Yeah, I'd let you do either, really.
What do I see with my Sasquatch eyes?
Oh, a 3.
Jesus. Just like that, all of our good rolls are gone.
There's some more plants over there.
Huh, where?
Well, 12 might get us something, right?
Uncle Jimmy and Forte, you both take a couple minutes to investigate the place. You know, this road, this cobblestone road here towards the residential area, not very traveled, so you don't feel like anyone's going to catch you in here peeking around. Most people are kind of minding their own businesses outside, those of the few who are actually there. So you take a couple minutes to case the joint. Nothing seems out of place. Paperwork about receipts, writs of sales here. You even find a small safe underneath the desk that you could potentially crack. But everything seems in place. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. No signs of struggle or no weird items hanging around. No missing items that would be a red flag. All seems in order, like someone locked up and just never came back the next day.
Perhaps we check the safe for any evidence, but we leave everything else.
Yeah.
And then
Except what's in the safe. Take what's in the safe.
no. Well, maybe. We'll see. I'll wait to decide until after I've seen the results.
I want to check the safe and around the area for any traps. I mean, she was potentially married to a locksmith.
Sure.
Perception?
Perception for it, yeah.
Who are you? How did you get in here? I'm a locksmith, and I'm a locksmith.
You peer around. It doesn't look like the safe is trapped, but with your perception, you are able to easily notice that the lock on the front of the safe is certainly one of the make of Paltrow's and would be pretty difficult to crack.
All right.
But possible, you assume.
I look. I just take a deep breath and sigh and say, "Just give me the damn key."
Ooh, key. Let's do it.
All right.
What? Do it, Jimmy.
Zim.
Take a guidance while you.
It's the same number.
It was the same so.
You
We will find the lock for this key eventually.
you stick the
We
key in and
keep
give it a
trying in every
turn.
door.
Nothing happens. It is still locked.
All right. I flex my fingers, take a deep breath, and then say, "All right, we're gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way." Then I use a sleight of hand.
You can do it at advantage if you're using
yeah.
thieves' tools.
That's what I was going to say. Nice.
Hey. Woo.
21 total.
Okay, 21, pretty strong. It takes you probably like a good 5 or 6 minutes, kind of just sort of leaning on the ground at your side, sort of at the base level of the floorboards. down at the bottom behind the counter here as you work 2 of your picks inside of the lock. But eventually you do hear a shift, and as you pull them out, you grab the sort of metal lever, and pulling it about 90 degrees, you hear the sound of gears shifting, and you're able to pull open the safe. The safe is probably, you know, like a little larger than maybe like someone's head, so, you know, 2 or so feet both ways, so it's not huge, but you're able to pull open the door, and as you open it, in the interior you find some rolled up scrolls, and they kind of sit on some decently organized mixture of currency. You see, you know, everything from copper all the way up to gold seems to be listed here. You can probably guess that there's, if you were to all convert it to gold, probably roughly like about a little over 100 something gold worth of currency inside. You know, pretty decent for a place like this, you know, and maybe a little bit of savings mixed in there. You know, nothing out of the sorts that you'd see with that.
Take it.
The scrolls, he means.
And the money.
Good money can remain.
I don't feel good taking the money from the dead like that. Or potentially, if you guys want, you can take it. But I'm going to start reading the scrolls or flipping through them. And I hand some of them to Bark so we can do it a little expeditiously so we don't get caught.
I like to read.
Technically, we don't know that she's dead. We could just be committing robbery.
He does have a point, but I agree with the morals of leaving it if we do not need it very much.
Untying the knots on the scrolls and unfurling them, you see that they just appear to be notes that seem to be scribbled. An interest that perhaps written by Beatrice about other locations of interesting flora around the region that she may want to integrate into her shop, but nothing that stands out as like a you know, distressed note or anything. This all seems to be standard fare from what you've seen so far.
I would like the list of interesting flora locations for personal research.
Yeah, it seems like something you'd be into.
Yeah, and to test her knowledge when we find her, because she may be body switched or something. You don't know. I need it.
True.
Well, if that's all, we should move on to the apartment or the home. Find out if she's been there.
I agree. Perhaps there is a landlord or someone we could ask.
Jimmy, close the safe.
I slowly close it and I try to make sure that it relocks.
Yeah, you are able to close it enough. You pull the lever to the side, kind of twisting it as it swivels. You hear it locks safely back.
So I guess we go to the. It was an apartment block.
Yeah, like a housing residential area from where this flowering shop is. Not too far from it. This is kind of outside of the area where most of the busier plaza is. You all kind of get up and step back out of the house, closing the door behind you. Are you locking the door behind you?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Who fucking cares? Fuck this place.
You lock and close the door behind you, and using the address on the note, it only takes you like maybe 5 minutes to turn a couple corners, walk through an alleyway across, and find yourselves kind of, as I mentioned before, standing in front of a home that sits in front of you. It's not a 2-story like Paltrow's place. It just appears to be like a pretty standard, like, you know, 1-floor cottage, built similar to many of the others in this area. Simple enough to like have someone have a place to live in.
Yeah, let's go and knock on the door. Hello?
Professor Bark, you step up and rap on the door. You notice in between some of the curtains that are pulled to, but not enough for you to not at least see what you could see inside. It appears dark in there. You wait a couple minutes. There is no answer.
Is the door unlocked?
You try the door. It is not locked. It opens.
Oh, that's surprising.
Miss Beatrice, a house call. We've been worried about your flower shop.
You say
It's
this
good cover.
looking into the interior of a, as I mentioned, relatively quaint house. There's very similar to Poutro's outstairs. There's sort of just like an almost open area here. In one corner, like a bedroom area with what looks like to be sort of like a wooden divider that leads to a kitchen spot, and then a separate smaller room for like a bathroom. You know, simple enough. The medieval D&D equivalent of an apartment, if you would. As you peer inside, you can see the rays of light kind of just barely peering in through the almost closed curtains of the windows, and you can see the fragments of like dust and dander that sort of just floats and flitters through the air. As you say that out loud, Professor Bark, as you kind of step inside, hearing the wood creak underneath your feet, you hear no answer.
Opie is not getting this whole plot at all. Like, he's very confused. So as we start to enter, Opie's like, guys, I had a thought. What if this Beatrice is Boutro? Like Poutro said.
What?
It's Boutro. Because Poutro said that the name was wrong, so we're looking for the right person with the right name, right?
You are confusing me.
That is a pretty smart deduction from a becoming a seasoned veteran of a warrior you are.
Hey, you got a good point. If Professor Bark and Tynar can turn into animals at any will, maybe our locksmith was disguised over there.
Again, that makes no sense. Why the quest? The quest! It's infuriating!
Yeah, I agree. It is infuriating.
I guess we begin our investigation. We begin looking around.
Okay, those of you who want to do either a perception or main investigation to poke around, poke and prod, let me know what you're doing and the role that accompanies it.
Since the door is unlocked, I actually want to repeat the same survival check I did last time. See if I can find footprints or like any signs of recent like habitation, embers in the fireplace, that sort of thing.
Sure.
15's better. Hey, and 15 in perception too. Nice.
Yeah, so Lincoln, I'll get to yours, Opie, here in just a second. Lincoln, with your check, similar to the sort of plantery, the flowering shop previously, this seems to be a similar situation. Despite the door just being completely unlocked and this being a relatively busy town, you're surprised that, you know, no one would have maybe poked or prodded in here, but nothing with that survival check gives you the idea that like anyone's even really stepped in here beyond you, other than maybe the last patron, supposedly Beatrice, who was here. Opie, with your 15 perception check, along with Uncle Jimmy's, both of you are hunting around the house trying to find anything of note. In one of the drawers, underneath some of the clothing on the opposite side of where the bed is, you find what looks to be a journal or diary of some type, donned in leather with a small little strap that keeps it shut.
Opie will crack it open, read it.
Hope you open it up, and there is a couple pages in here that seem to go on, and they're marked in days. Kind of just mentioning the time of year and things related to the whole passage in the area here on the Celestial Cradle as a whole. They begin not like as someone from a young age, but rather begin to talk about like the recent departure from the household, as Beatrice notes her time of moving out of Poutro's place and coming here taking time for herself and the heartache she feels for having to do so, but knowing that Paltrow, as far as she knows, just has his heart too much into his work to be able to tend to her needs anymore. And she's going to instead at least spend some time focusing on her own drive with her flowering shop and hopefully get somewhere with that. Mentioning that she had to buy the property a year or two back, somewhat outside of the plaza, as it was too expensive to buy there. So she doesn't get as many customers as she wants, but she enjoys the business enough and thinks that it can grow in time. And kind of sees, although she feels despondent about Paltrow growing too much into his work, she also feels a sense of inspiration from the fact that he has become as successful as he is through his drive, and is hoping that maybe with a little time on her own can maybe focus in this herself. She kind of muses after a couple more pages, after a couple days pass, and perhaps maybe having a little time separated from one another of them, having some time apart, that they'll hopefully come back together again. She mentions that Paltrow has reached out to her once or twice and they've been cordial with one another, but she's insisted that she needs to have this time for herself, at least for a little while. You keep flipping through, and from what you can tell, Opie, a good couple weeks passes. There's just very mundane writing. A couple mentions occasionally about the situation of her, feeling somewhat depressed by the turn of affairs, but hoping that things will turn out in the end. Eventually, the conversation and the writing shifts away from the whole mixture of the relationship and the situation that she's in to the fact that she's been having nightmares recently. It seems to focus on the fact that she hasn't been getting a whole lot of sleep. She keeps having nightmares and waking up in the middle of the night covered in sweat. But unfortunately, she writes that she can't remember any of them.
Weird.
She continues to detail a couple of them. There's quite a few days that pass, Opie, and you kind of flip through, and on one of the final pages, before the rest of the journal just is blank, you see written on it, "I remembered one." And as you flip the page, kind of seeing that there is some type of writing or drawing on the backside, you see a page covered in perhaps chalk or whatever she used to write this in, and there is a crude drawing. She covered the page in black chalk and used the negative space to draw a crude image of what looks like a distorted human face with a gaping, hanging mouth open, almost in a mixture of a scream and a laugh, contorted to the side. The neck seems to just continue to go on, never finding shoulders as it just goes off the page.
Junji Ito shit right there.
You keep flipping after that, Opie, but find nothing.
Quite a nightmare.
That's a little freaky. Is this lady one of your friends, Lincoln?
No.
Oh.
And I am not familiar with this creature depicted in the drawing.
Can I take a history check, see if I've seen anything like that?
Sure, yeah. 20. Jimmy, you have done, you've seen many creatures and done quite a lot of jobs, which in turn means that you need to see a lot of creatures for your reconnaissance work and stuff like that for your private jobs. This does not look like anything you've ever seen before.
Stranger and stranger.
It's terrifying.
Many of the
Perhaps
things that
she
you...
was-
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Lincoln.
Perhaps she was abducted by this monster, whatever it is.
What's the date of the last entry? Does it have a date?
The date of the last entry seems to line up with the investigation checks made at the plant shop. It seems to be, considering whatever the date and time is now, about 13 or 14 days out.
Well then, we just need to find some creature that lives in nightmares. Simple task.
Perhaps we must sleep. Well, you must sleep. I can watch and hide.
Go ahead.
With that idea in mind, the sleep in mind, Bark pulls out that list of ingredients, the rare ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Would any of those have some properties that may cause sleep or sleep paralysis or something like that?
Give me a nature check.
A nature check? Why, I thought you'd never ask. Tyne, can you help me out here?
Tyne.
No.
Are you sure? Okay.
Taking a look at this paperwork along with Tyne R, Professor Bark, most of the things on here you're able to recognize, either you or Tyne R, between the two of you. None of these seem to have any sort of like remedial properties or anything that would be very mechanically helpful for you and your group. These are all just notes about nearby flora that have a nice fragrance to them, or a sort of delightful or beautiful, elegant look to them. Stuff that would certainly do well in a shop window for people who are looking to spruce up the interior of their homes. But nothing that would have any sort of like remedial purpose in terms of like mixing for anything. Like there's nothing here that's like gonna cure you of an illness. It's all cosmetic, just as the flowering shop was.
No leads there. Well, sleep, huh?
It seems we've hit a dead end.
Sorry for missing it. Did the journal say anything about the dream being special, like she achieved it some special way, like?
No, just that she couldn't remember them until the one where she could, and then that's what the creepy drawing was of.
It mentioned that she was having nightmares that would pull her out of her sleep, finding herself covered in sweat occasionally, but unfortunately she could never remember. She knows they were nightmares, but it's that thing, that we sometimes have where it was some really weird or scary dream, you just can't recall the events, and that's what she wrote. And then several days went by without any notation in her diary, except for that last page that mentioned that she remembers now, with a drawing on the back.
Curious. Well, it appears we have two paths in front of us. Either we return back to the locksmith, or we try and find sources elsewhere. What say ye?
I think it's getting a little late. Maybe we could go have a drink or two, put an ear to the ground.
Yeah, at this point it's about 11 light time. You're about an hour away. You can see the waning darkness as dusk. It's not like a red sunlight out there, because of course the strange natural light that comes here is not from the sun, but rather from a swarm of Gleedokin up above. But you can now see the intensity of the light outside beginning to wane, as it is likely the case that the Gleedokin outside are beginning to disperse, and it will not be long before the blight rolls in.
Yeah, let's why don't we and if anything, either go back to our cart or splurge for one night and get a rest and some food and stuff. And who knows, maybe he'll come up to the bar and we can feed him a few drinks and get some info out of him.
That's not a bad idea. He did frequently mention that we should stay the night here. Maybe we should find the inn closest to him. He may find us.
An inn is good.
Yeah, I think we deserve it. We've been working hard out here. I'll even toss in some, some extra gold if we need to cover some stuff, I promise.
What was that, the butcher's name, Jason?
Oh god. I have no idea.
Hold on.
The butcher.
where?
Yeah, the last session.
That we escorted back.
Yeah.
He was a
The
furball,
butcher-
I remember that.
It's fine. I don't really need his name. The butcher said that there was a inn near his shop, didn't he?
Jiren.
Jiren, yeah.
I wonder where I got that one.
So we can go stay there.
An excellent idea, my boy. Good remembering.
Plus, he said he would come visit us. And we would look at that Pither book, remember?
But perhaps if we rest amongst the people, we can keep an eye on them, see if there are any more of these strange dreams.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't follow that plan. Sleep amongst.
You go to an inn, sleep at the inn, and then we can like listen if anybody like screams out in the middle of the night. You know.
Yeah. I don't know. For some reason, I was like, you collect them all into like. Never mind. It seems obvious what you're saying now. That's what I was. Okay.
My mind immediately went to like sleep on the street, like with people. I was like, why would we sleep on the street?
Well, then it's decided. To the end we shall go.
Heading to the inn,
Tynar!
you begin to head away from the residential area back to the what was once more populated than it is now that the blight time is nearing. You see a lot of folks either wrapping things up at their shops, some of them pulling the curtains to their stalls, or packing some of their things on like mules or other beasts of burden and kind of pulling themselves up on them. A couple shopkeepers kind of locking up for the evening. There are some candlelight nearby, and you do notice that there is a couple folks that begin to walk down the streets, and littered on the streets are like some lanterns that are made from some steel, but you watch as each of them kind of give it a bang, and you see that the lanterns, although you didn't necessarily notice it before, lanterns aren't made of like your typical just candle work inside or any sort of like flame. They're actually made of what look like these sort of almost translucent but foggy rocks. And as they bang against the metal poles of the kind of street lamps, you see the rocks up in this glass casing kind of bounce and crack against one another. And as they do, they begin to give off a glow.
Nice.
That begins to kind of light the streets up as they walk down. You notice a lot of the candlelight from some of the places that still exist now. As you notice, the inn is actually a mixture of a tavern on the first floor, not too dissimilar from the structure of Paltrow's, where there's a tavern on the first floor, and above that, room for the night for likely those passing through, traders, merchants, travelers. It is the Drink Your Sorrows Tavern and Inn. It says, stay for a while, enjoy yourselves, grab a drink underneath it. You can see that there's a couple people in the interior through the windows that you can notice who are, going in. Some of those probably who don't necessarily have anyone to return to in the evening, or maybe some that do, that are just kind of deciding to head to the tavern instead and jovially have a drink or two. You can hear some chatter coming from inside that is, not crazy, but like your typical chatter and drinking and merriment coming from within as you all step up to it.
Well, I think we need to find out what we can about Paltrow and his relationship, as well as see if anybody else is afflicted by these nightmares. Maybe it's a local legend.
I will do my best to blend in with the locals at the tavern.
Don't shit your pants again.
I'll try not to. I will say that as part of your warrior training, you need to learn how to take 5, if you will. Opie, I need your help on this one.
Okay, what are we doing, Mr. Forte?
We are taking leave after a long battle.
Okay.
Just to follow my lead, please. And make sure you're only drinking clear liquids like water.
Okay. Are you just gonna drink water?
Yes. Water, it's gonna have some herbs and some grains in it, yes.
But I want to drink what you drink, Mr. Forte.
Okay, we'll figure something out.
Okay.
You guys stepping inside?
Yeah.
Yes.
You step inside of the tavern, and find that it's a pretty open first level room. Patrons inside as you hear the soft wind outside begin to blow through the city streets. In the interior here you see a number of folks kind of gathering up to their seats, some with fistfuls of mugs that they come over to a table and pass to some friends. The occasional jovial conversation amongst people who are likely getting off work and doing their trade, talking about how the day went. All standard stuff and nothing out of the ordinary. It is like a just typical town through and through from what you've seen so far. There is a human, female, up at the front tavern who looks relatively, kind of younger for her age, and
Smart.
an attractive looking woman as she, has a beaming smile and is serving drinks as everyone is enjoying their time. You can see outside that it begins to grow darker and darker with really only the visible thing beginning to be the street lamps outside.
When we go in there, I'm going to go over to the waitress and hand her 2 gold and say, "Hey, you see that dwarf over there? Could you go get him a dwarven-looking man, pardon me? Can you give him a drink and tell him you really like his accent? He's had a real rough day."
Oh, I hate to hear that. Of course. Yes, of course, she says as she begins to pour a drink. She begins to hum as she begins to fill up a tankard. With it full, she begins to head over. Forte, as you sit at your seat, she places it down and says, "Hard day at work, huh?"
Oh, wouldn't you like to know? It has been the hardest day of work.
He actually shit his pants.
Is that canon now?
The little one is correct. It's been that kind of day.
She does that waitress thing where she wants to wince, but she's on the clock, so she just sort of like turns it into like a slight smile and says, "Oh, well, I hope you're able to clean yourself up if that's the case. You look just as great as the morning you woke up, though, despite whatever you went through. What can I get you, darling? If you want some food, what can I get for you all?"
Yes, food would be great. Local selection, if you will. And could you make sure we at least have 2 rounds for everyone, and make sure you some clear fluids for the little one.
She looks and sees, Opie, that you're pretty young and says, "Oh yeah, of course. I'll go ahead and get that order, please."
No, I want whatever the others are drinking, please.
You're going to get it. You're going to get it.
She looks at you and then back over to you, Forte, and says, "Of course," and she winks at you, Forte. "Just as much as the others. You got it."
Thank you very much. You are as smart as I thought you were.
She smiles as the waitress does and begins to head back.
Here.
It just brings everyone ever clear,
Yeah.
including OP.
Opie, here. This is my mug. You want to drink as us? You are on a quest. Here you go. You can try this out. You can have the tankard aplenty while we're drinking.
What's it filled with?
It's dwarven ale.
Oh, damn. OP starts drinking.
Theft, breaking and entering, underage drinking.
Like has Opie been adventurous in his time? I know he's out and about to prove himself as a warrior, but like, what is his history with eating and drinking weird things? Would the taste of ale be like new and unpleasant for him, or would this be something that like I've had worse? I've drank animal piss. What's the story?
I mean, he's had weird things. He lives with frog people.
Sure. I figured.
But he actually tasted ale in the very first session when we were at that inn.
That's right.
And he thought it was gross, but now after being with these men for so long, he feels like he needs to like drink it too and like be a man.
It's still gross, Opie, but you've heard that adage that it is an acquired taste, and perhaps it's the same with alcohol as you continue to take some sips of it.
Dear God.
It's not long before the waitress comes back and is able to bring everyone 2 tankards apiece, and sets down some delicious looking chicken and potatoes and other meats for you all to kind of grab up and eat.
What is it with us and chicken at these places?
Chicken.
Chicken, dude. Because we always end up at the B-dubs or something.
It's like,
We're
yeah,
just-
it's like
Yeah.
it's a easy, cheap food that most towns would probably, I guess, serve.
Fair enough. Lincoln takes a tankard of ale and looks at it and then sets it back down.
Yeah.
Foretale. Because of your extreme smartness, if you will, here, take this and let me know if it does not cover. He'll slide over 3 gold.
Oh, that's more than enough. I appreciate the kindness, she says.
Yeah, it's thank you for making the day much better and taking care of everyone.
If you need anything else to top yourselves off, let me know. Yeah. Also, if you need a room, I can give you one of those.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, yes. We are in need of rooms. Everybody, right? We are here to find rooms.
Yes. But
Well,
have you noticed anything strange about the patrons that stay overnight?
She looks at a pile of sentient bones, asks this question, and sort of like you see her like just have this weird quizzical look that you very rarely see on a person's face as she says, "No, darling, I think you were the strangest thing I've seen in many, many years."
This is a compliment.
Well, I meant it that way, she says with a smile.
Let me be a little bit coy with you a little bit here, real quick, because I have paid, and so I think you like me. Do you, when you sleep, do you have strange dreams? Not with me in them, but do you have strange dreams?
Well, that'd be rightly weird if I had dreams with you since I've just met. Have we met before?
Well, not yet, but hi, my name's Forte. These are the well-wishers. What are
hello,
your dreams
everyone.
like? When you sleep, not when you're awake and you aspire to be something.
Well, I like my beauty sleep. I think it's important, especially for the job that I do. So, in terms of any strange dreams, I don't believe I've had much of any. Nothing weird going on. Are y'all trying to suss something out in the town? Has something happened?
You could say yes. We have a friend we're trying to help out. Is trying to keep a sleep journal. Not so much the beauty sleep like I know you get, but more so that they have nightmares they cannot remember.
Oh, I've had those before. I think everybody does. But yeah, nothing recently that I could say has caused an issue.
Yeah, well, clearly you are getting enough rest. I can tell you that.
I can assure you our beds here are perfectly fine and many-feathered, so if you're having trouble sleeping, any of y'all, I can promise you that a bed here will suit you just fine. It's a gold apiece for the evening.
Perfect.
I-
Do we do that with you or here?
Oh, you can just pay me here if you'd like.
I'm gonna give her 5. I'm gonna give her 6 gold, 1 to cover each of us, and an additional 1, and say, again, try Thieves' Cant and ask about the weather and how the pattern has been lately. If everyone's been resting well with the extreme weather, see if she picks up on it.
She responds, telling you about how the weather's been pretty fair. They've been getting some rainfall recently, and of course the fact of the blight rolling through making travel in the night really difficult, but talks about how as long as within the city walls of Epicedium things are much safer with whatever is outside of there, and never once picks up on your Thieves' Cant.
Okay. I just nod to her and say, well, thank you.
Of course, if y'all need any other food and drink as you're enjoying yourselves, let me know. I'll be over at the counter, and when you're ready, come up to me. I'll hand you your keys to your rooms.
Do you know our friend Jaren? He's a man about my size.
He's the meatsmith near here, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't
Does he?
know him, but, you know, I've seen him, certainly. We all work in, you know, close by. I've seen him in passing.
He's not a patron, then I take it.
Oh, he comes in
speaks
here
well.
occasionally, yeah, but, you know, not all the time.
Well, I guess I'm looking for him, is what I'm trying to get. Is he around? Have you seen him?
She looks around, and as you do too, you don't notice that he's here. No, don't see him. Might not be in tonight. He was
Very
gone for the
well.
past couple days on some type of trip. So I haven't
Yes,
seen
we
him in a while.
rescued him.
Oh! Rescued him. Was he in danger? Was he the one having nightmares?
No, he was just run into trouble along the road.
Oh. Well, that's to be expected out beyond the passage. Or at least beyond the city walls, out in the passage. Well, I'm greatly appreciative that you brought him back. It's probably the reason he's not come to the tavern yet. May just want to spend an evening to himself.
He was gonna meet us here, and we were gonna look at a pither book that Mr. Forte had.
Mark slaps a big old hand over.
Isn't that right, Mr. Forte?
A picture book, huh?
Yes, we have collected several picture books from the codices due east from here, but
I heard that place was cursed. Y'all went to the codices?
we deal with curses from time to time. That's why we're asking you about the nightmares.
Oh, none of y'all are having nightmares, right? Don't be bringing that into the town.
Oh, not yet. I think everybody sleeps calmly except for Mr. Lincoln over here.
I don't sleep.
Yeah, that's why we don't talk about the sleep around him.
All right, well,
Mr. Forte is a big, strong hero. He can protect us.
I see that.
Opie drinks more of the ale, and he's like hiccuping.
Opie, give me a Constitution saving throw.
Vomit.
I had a player.
21.
I had a player roll a natty
What a war-
1 in
what a
my
warrior.
Tuesday evening session and puked everywhere trying to drink really gross ale. Opie, yeah, you're feeling a little tipsy. Things are feeling good, but yeah, you are kind of a warrior. You're fine. You're hanging out with the men, the strong adults.
That's why we have Opie with the dwarven ale instead of whatever they're dispensing on tap.
Ma'am, Opie calls the bartender over.
Yes, little boy.
I think Mr. Forte likes you.
Oh, how'd you know? You're
I
very
think
perceptive.
I think he wants to make eggs with you.
Oh God.
Oh, I see. Well, that is
child know about this?
very kind of him, and I will keep that in mind. Thank you, little boy. Her cheeks slightly red as she kind of gets back up from kind of scrunching over to listen to Opie. Well, y'all let me know if you need anything else, and take your time, but don't stay up too late here. Nothing much you can really do out there with the blight outside. Can't see your hand in front of your face while it's out there. So, whenever you're ready, come get your keys and get you a night's sleep.
There was one more thing.
Yes.
Do you know our friend Paltrow?
He is the locksmith in town, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I take it by your response you don't know him very well.
Well, not intimately, but yeah, we've talked before. Well, all of us shopkeepers occasionally meet once in a while, but don't really sit down to ply our trades all the time. No. Typically, most of us are busy doing our jobs, but yeah, I know Paltrow.
Getting that she doesn't really know him that well, he's gonna change course and say, he makes fantastic locks. You should check him out.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he's great at it. Lots of travelers actually go to him. You should all take a peek inside his shop if you haven't already. He'll lock your stuff up tight. No one's getting in there.
What if we needed to purchase flowers or plants? Where could we go for something like that?
There may be a herbal shop here somewhere. Are you looking for something remedial that's gonna maybe cure a poison or something that you'd get a disease out there?
You see, we're traveling quite a bit, and well, he's a little shy to say it. Our friend, Mr. Bark over here, is a well, kind of a scientist on plants. He does a lot of work with them, and having
okay.
something low maintenance that he could keep around, you know, keep his spirits up.
Well, that sounds incredible. Unfortunately, I wish I could tell you that there is a prime spot to buy yourself some plant stuff or whatever you need, but I don't think there's something like that in our town, unfortunately. Perhaps one day.
Thank you.
Of course. If you have any other questions, I know it seems like you're all newcomers, ask away. It's a sleepy little town, although we're a busy trade hub, but it's a nice place, so let me know.
Maybe. Indeed.
Well, after asking all these questions, will we wake up in our beds still alive? That was me saying that, not Jimmy.
I figured.
Well then,
It's a
thank you.
Lincoln question.
She nods and begins to kind of see some other patrons. You see, you know, the tavern here is getting slightly less filled with people as now that you begin to see the darkness rolling in as the clock nearby the wall ticks to 12 o'clock blight time. Most of the patrons have filed out. There's a couple more here, some kind of keeping their heads low, some with hoods on, just kind of keeping the darkness. Likely probably people who visit this place often and keep their heads in their drinks. But yeah, it's pretty quiet otherwise.
Well, have we any since we're all sharing a meal together in this fine establishment, have we any business to take care of between us? Any ideas on the path forward to rescuing Miss Beatrice?
I think the fact that she didn't know of any plant shop in the town is somewhat suspicious. Perhaps we should ask around tomorrow morning with our people.
Could I take a perception check real quick to see if there was any, maybe eyes catching us as we spoke? Did we draw any attention specifically from anybody in the bar?
Sure.
A wider net. Good idea, Lincoln.
It's a big old fat 12.
Another 3!
Man, nailing these threes.
You look around and try to see if you can deduce, you know, like anybody out of the ordinary that may be keeping their eyes on you or anything like that, Uncle Jimmy, but you don't notice anyone that seems to be watching you.
Well then, I guess it's Benny Bye time, everyone.
I shall keep watch in the hallway.
Oh, excellent. I always sleep safer knowing you were around, Lincoln.
He's just gonna find the darkest corner of the hallway to stand in and just stay completely still for the rest of the
Opie's already passed out at the bar.
Yeah. Bart just picks him up with one hand.
Yep.
I've got...
So, do you all grab your keys from the waitress, bartender?
Oh, yes.
Okay. You grabbing the keys to each of your rooms. She wishes you a good night's rest, as again most of the people have kind of filed out at this point. And with that, yeah, you all begin to head up the stairs. She kind of points it out. Yours are going to be all the ones on the left, and that should be everything that's there on that left side. I appreciate the business, she says. You all file upstairs, and each of you, using one of your individual keys, opens up one of the doors on the left side of a relatively thin hallway. As you look down this hallway, Lincoln, there's just sort of like a single window at the far end that kind of peers over, you know, a decent amount of the city streets. At least what you can see, is it is largely pitch black except for the kind of glowing light of the glowstones that are percolating in the pitch black from the street lamps. Everyone opens their rooms with a key and finds a relatively decent cot. It's small, but seems like it's got a lot of fluff to it, so it seems comfortable enough. And, it's got the basic accoutrements of any type of inn that you'd expect. Perfectly serviceable.
Very well, nighty-night, everyone. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
For RP purposes, I'm going to spend like at least an hour going through my cartography tools just to like update our map from what we have and trying to make like a facsimile of some of like what we've seen and what we've done, just a quick edit so I have a second copy in case anything happens.
Okay. You do that. Is everyone heading to bed? So, one of you, I'm sure Tyne, probably picks Opie up and opens a key door to Opie's own room, just kind of sets him into a cot, puts a nearby wooden bucket at the side of the bed, knowing that he may need it at some point in the night, and just kind of pulls the covers up on him and steps out, locking the door behind.
Lincoln. I go over to him as we're heading in. I know I got 6 rooms. You want to put your, nothing gets past you, but you want to put your creepy little screaming friend by the door, one of those, so somebody goes in there.
Good idea.
I put it by... Is there an empty room because I'm standing in the hallway?
None on the left side, but there is one on the right side.
But is that like my room, basically? Like, is
no,
that the one we have the key for? Okay.
There's an empty room, but the doors are closed, so you'd probably have to have like a key to get in.
Like which?
But there's like a window seal at the end of the corridor too.
Do we have like 5 rooms between us, or like 2 rooms with several beds? What's the deal?
It seems like you've taken up all of the rooms on the left side as you get up this narrow hallway. Yep. So there's just the ones on the right.
If there's any that have multiple people in it, I put the screaming doll in there.
On the right side?
No, the side that we're staying in.
Okay.
In our party, yeah.
Yeah. If anybody but us comes within 5 feet of the doll, it'll
within
scream
5
really
feet of
loud.
the doll? Okay.
Yeah, and I put it like next to the. I'll put it next to the.
You could do it in between 2 rooms if you want, so it covers 2 if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they're not
Out
far
the
apart from
hallway
one
might
another.
be a good idea.
And 5 feet would be enough to capture the hallway, the whole width of it, if you put it close enough to that.
Oh yeah. If anybody else comes out of their room, I'll just warn them about the creepy Blair Witch doll as I appear from the darkness.
Sure.
How terrifying would
Return
that
to
be?
your room, patron.
Do not
Find
fear.
the doll.
Don't worry about the screaming, alright? Forget you ever heard it.
Okay.
Everyone goes to sleep, right?
Well, except Lincoln. Lincoln doesn't sleep.
Lincoln, you don't sleep, so you do what? Stand in the hallway patrolling?
It's called Sentry's Rest. I have to stay stationary for 4 hours, but I get the benefits of a long rest. It's a inactive, motionless state. I appear inert, but I'm not unconscious, and I can see and hear like normal.
And where are you standing in the hallway? Are you like at the
I'm
top of the
standing in
stairs, or?
Whatever the darkest corner of the hallway is, be that the far end. I don't know if there's like a window. Or
Yeah, it'd probably be at the far end where the window is, because
Okay,
there's
stand
not a
over
whole
there.
lot of light. Yeah, so you kind of stand over.
Okay.
A couple hours pass. Everyone has fallen asleep except for Lincoln, who even in sort of a sentry state is still able to remain perceptive with the surroundings. No one needs to make constitution checks to check how well you slept, because you're in very comfortable beds. A couple hours pass in the night, Lincoln. You see a probably slightly inebriated elf step up the stairs and notice you at the far end, and they just stop for a second, and there's like they go wide-eyed seeing your form. And they just like watch you the entire time as they turn and just like quickly fumble their key. They keep missing the lock because they're not even looking as they finally get the key in the door and just like quickly slip into the room and close the door.
Perfect. I should have said boo.
More time passes. More time passes. You don't notice anything out of the ordinary, Lincoln. Couple more hours pass. It's in the middle of the night. Probably 6 blight time, I'd say. Let me see. Let me actually go back to that page. 6 blight time. And let me change this really quickly. So that's going to be 2 more ticks off the harmonic flux mana.
Okay.
Lincoln, you and everyone else at 6 blight time are woken up to the sound of the doll screeching.
Oh.
Lincoln, you snap to and begin to peer around quickly. You see no movement in the hallway. You see nothing. You do see what appears to be... Well, you hear the sound of shuffling coming from like the individual rooms, as obviously the sound of the screeching doll seems to have woken up maybe some of your team and the patrons on the other side. And then as you peer behind you, the window seal closed this entire time is now out of nowhere. You don't remember hearing it, is now open.
Yeah. I take out a dagger and start like menacingly gesturing around the room. Can I do like a perception check? Is there maybe like somebody moving invisibly or something?
Sure, you can make a check. Also, any of you who were asleep, you can pull yourselves out of rest. You hear the doll screeching outside in the hall.
Oh, Opie did a little bit better than Lincoln, but not very much.
Opie, you poke your head out and look. Lincoln, Opie, you look around. You don't remember the window ever opening since you were literally right next to it, Lincoln. But outside of that, no disturbance. No hidden figures anywhere. You now see the door opening to some of the rooms on the other side of people covering their ears, like very confused. They see you at the end of the hall and very quickly go to shut their doors again. One of the patrons like runs out very quickly down the stairs and just sort of like what looks like just some overalls, some sleeping gears. They quickly just run down the stairs, seeing a very scary darkened figure at the end of the hallway and a screaming doll in the middle.
Your lives are in danger.
Oh, God.
It's not long before you hear the sound of the stairs, and stepping up, you see the barkeep holding her ears and go, "What's going on? What is that?"
I deactivate the doll first of all, and then I say,
A magical ward I have placed. Detected an intruder.
She looks around, what? And you see she actually kind of like reaches underneath in her clothing and pulls out a small dagger. Where?
I don't know. I didn't see them. They came in through the window, but I didn't see it open.
Can Opie look out the window?
Sure. It is very difficult to see, as I mentioned before. It's just like a complete thick blackness. You can't even see the roof of the rest of the inn here. All you can see out in the distance is 2 or 3 faintly lit glows from the glowstone of the street lamps.
Oh, are we all accounted for? Is anybody missing?
Yeah, I was gonna say, does everyone else in the team kind of wake up and pop out of their rooms, or do you do anything in your rooms? What do you do?
If there's a window, I'm gonna put my head out the window, hearing what they were saying, just taking a peek.
Sure. Yeah, you guys can make checks if you want to. You have to do it at disadvantage if you're looking outside, because there is not much visibility out there.
Alright. It's 18 total.
Uncle Jimmy, you go to check your window, and it is not locked. You open it, and as a matter of fact, when you go to open it, you feel that it is slightly cracked.
Pulling out
You peer outside and don't see anything other than the blackness of night. And as you go to close the window seal again, you look back down by your bedside and see a dagger that is stuck into the wood at the floor and carved into the floor just inches away from where you would have been laying in the bed. It reads, "Don't F-O-R-G," and then that's where the end of the blade is placed in the wood.
Is that a dagger that any of us own? Or have we never seen this dagger before?
Jacula's.
Are you sharing this with the rest of the group? I'd say, Uncle Jimmy.
I was going to ask the same first. I was going to see if it was one of my weapons.
Okay, so yeah, since his door is still closed, you searching yourself, Uncle Jimmy, you do find one of the daggers that you typically keep on you is not in its holster at your side and is the one sticking in the floor.
I know it's a cryptic ass message and a long shot in the dark, but would this have any significance to anything related to me in my past, or do I have no clue and it could be just related to the group?
Make a history check.
It's 15.
This doesn't ring any bells to you. You don't ever remember if this was you. This seems to be your blade. You don't ever remember etching this. You don't ever remember seeing anything in the night. You remember sleeping and hearing the sound of the doll and awakening and seeing this.
I'm gonna look around the room once, kind of take a deep breath so I don't start freaking out, and go over to the door and slowly open it and see who's outside.
You see Lincoln and Opie, and at this point probably some of the other members of the team shuffling out of his rooms. Some of the other doors on the opposite side where it looks like some of the patrons either fled or you actually see the bartender at the far end beginning to open some of the doors at the other end and checking inside. There was some talk outside as you were doing this, and you can see the rest of the team here.
Yeah, kind of peer my head out and wave to if there's anybody down the hall. Sorry about that, folks. And I look to them and say, you want to go check your rooms real quick and then come back to mine, see if there's anything different.
Did anyone see something suspicious? Mine was empty.
Yeah, I got some suspicious shit in my room. I just want to make sure you guys are good too. You ain't got nothing in there.
Only that the window was ajar next to me, and I did not see it open.
Was it a window or a jar?
It was a window. I was very clear.
Well then, and the door was closed to Jimmy's room?
Uncle Jimmy, door was closed to your room, but you did notice as you popped out to see the others, it wasn't locked.
Yeah, I don't know if I remember locking my door or not, but it definitely was unlocked. Yeah, you guys don't see anything. I my window was a little ajar, if you will, a little open.
Well, seems we have a clear line to follow. Did you see anything else besides the open window?
I kind of walk back to my room and gesture for them to come in there, and I look to the ground and say, that's my dagger, and unless I'm sleepwalking and doing some crazy shit, I don't remember carving shit into the floor.
Curious. I cast. Whoop. I activate my detect magic racial ability. Do I detect any lingering magics around the dagger? Perhaps
You
it was
detect
possessed or touched by
magic.
something?
You detect magic emanations coming off of some of your weaponry and stuff, things that you'd expect. I'd assume that you likely have Uncle Jimmy just like an extra dagger on your person to have done this, right? Okay, yeah, you don't sense any magic or anything coming from it. Seems like just a standard extra dagger, just to have as a utensil in case something happens. No magic or anything.
I know this is going to be a far shot. Are there any mirrors in the room?
Yeah, there's like a small little bathroom at the side, and there is a mirror within.
I mean, maybe a little chill up my spine, kind of like take a moment and look at the mirror and kind of wave my hand in front of it.
You do that and watch as your reflection does the exact same thing.
Just making sure no creepy other me's messing about. Yeah, I don't know what this means. That doesn't mean I know I ain't upfront about everything, but I ain't got anybody telling me that I know. Right? Don't forge, don't forget, don't for whatever. I don't.
Jimmy, do you remember dreaming by chance?
I'd like to take a history check and see if I remember.
Don't need to
dreaming.
make a history check. You don't remember having any dreams last night. Well,
No.
in the night, since it technically is the night still right now.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how much sleep time did we get?
It's only been 6 hours.
6 hours. Okay, so you would have had dreams. Is that a fair assumption to say? With 6 hours?
Yeah. You could probably, if he was going to, you probably would have recollected them. Yeah.
Curious. I remember having a beautiful dream about a big tree. That was all the dream was, just a big tree.
I don't think that's related.
It is not.
My head hurts too much to dream.
Oh no.
Lincoln, you see the bartender kind of dagger held at the ready as she pushes out of one of the rooms on the right side and begins to kind of push into the only other single room that was on your side, on your side of the hallway. She kind of begins to check that room.
And ma'am,
Okay.
you had dreams this evening?
You're talking
No need to be specific.
Talking to the bartender?
Yeah.
She pokes her head out and says, not that I remember. If I had any, no. She kind of ducks her head down and continues to almost like systematically check each room.
Well then, maybe we should check these windows, see if there's anything left upon them. I don't know what I would be looking for, but I'm gonna make a perception check on these windowsills.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh. 14. Is that right?
Are you looking for anything suspicious with them? What are you trying to check for?
I don't know. I'm thinking like torn cloth on the windowsill or something like That's my biggest example, but just like any sign of entry, I guess. Like, was it jimmied open?
Are you checking like each room?
Each of the windowsills, yeah.
Okay. Other than Uncle Jimmy's slightly ajar one, all of the rest in your rooms are closed. As you are finishing that up, though, the barkeep comes out and says, "The window in this room is open," she says, pointing to the kind of only other single room that was on your side.
And was there an occupant?
No, that room was unoccupied.
Interesting.
It seems likely
Lincoln, did you see anyone enter this room?
No, I saw no one. The doll just merely activated. I suspected something must be invisible nearby. That doesn't seem to be the case.
Interesting. So the windowsills specifically that I was going to check were the ones that looked to be tampered with, like the one in the hall, the one in Jimmy's room, and if I knew about this
the
other
one in the hallway that Uncle Lincoln, that Lincoln was standing. Could you imagine? He says very off-color
give me a
jokes. There's one that Lincoln was pretty much adjacent to that is pretty much pushed open almost all the way. The one that it was in Uncle Jimmy's room was just barely opened, like ajar. You'd almost not tell unless you came up to look at it. And then the one in the other single room that was on your side, where most of you rented out the other rooms, that one is almost fully open, like in the hallway.
I'm beginning to form a theory.
The bartender comes out and says, "I'm gonna check on the other patrons. Are y'all all right and counted forward?"
We are okay.
All right. Would y'all just keep an eye out? I gotta make sure everyone's all right.
Absolutely.
Okay, she says, and she begins to like holster. She sticks her blade in between her belt and begins to head down the stairs.
I want to check in that in other room to see if there's any carving on the floor or anything like that. I think that's an obvious no, but
The one with the open window?
yeah,
Okay, sure.
the empty one.
Sure.
Right before the bartender leaves, Opie, even through his headache, would like to make an insight check to see if she's actually like surprised or concerned.
Okay, sure.
I can assist on that too.
Whoa, a big 6, even with advantage.
She seems surprised, just like you all.
Seems legit.
You step inside Professor Bark into the room, and you notice that the bed appears to have been slept in. Like the covers are pulled, or at least the bed hasn't been made in a while, is what you gather. Everything seems to be in order otherwise. You notice that the room was probably recently used. Maybe no one was sleeping here this night, but probably as recent as the other night. You continue to kind of pilfer around and look to see if there is anything else of note. And you find underneath the bed, just kind of sticking out, is a rolled up parchment.
Something to read. My favorite.
You pick up the parchment and unfurl it, and it is the quest note from the quest board talking about something happening and a danger to Paltrow's wife.
Ooh.
Ho ho ho, traveler.
But it's just a random scrap of paper?
Seems to be almost like an identical quest note to the one that you all have.
Ooh, do we still have our old one on our person?
You each check yourselves to see if you can find it. You have a couple other quest notes, some of the stuff leading you to the codices and stuff like that. You do not have the Paltrow note on your person.
What?
Very curious. I compare it with the bill of sale. Is it the same handwriting still?
Looks like the same exact handwriting.
This is a very curious case.
Do you guys think we should go try to find Paltrow?
I believe Lincoln. Your theory, maybe.
I believe this may be similar to the other town by the lake that we visited. Some sort of curse haunts this place. We've merely arrived at the beginning, rather. I suspected that it was transmitted through dreams, but if our windows were open and no one noticed, including myself, perhaps we've placed some sort of spell on us. I didn't sleep. I cannot dream. and yet I do not remember the window being opened next. Something has bewitched us, and Jimmy, the most perceptive amongst us, was the only to notice.
It is curious.
Do we have all of our belongings? Has anything been stolen from us? Other than, I guess, it's weird. The fact that the quest page is gone is weird.
Yeah. Maybe an obvious question, but we're on the left side still, right?
Yeah, you rented
okay.
rooms on the left side. Yep. you were on the right side now. No, you're on the left side. You're on the left side with that one extra vacant room, kind of closer to the stairs that you found the almost identical Paltrow note in.
Well, I'm fucking confused.
Things were just beginning to make sense until quest paper.
Yes. And I wonder... These locks, Jimmy. Maybe you try your hand at picking this lock. I'll lock my door and then have Jimmy try and pick it. Tell me about the relative difficulty of these locks.
I go and try to pick it. I was honestly thinking the same thing. I was going to ask her, like, who made all the locks for this place?
Oh, we know he did.
Well, you don't know the Paltrow did necessarily. It's not been
Oh, I thought
confirmed.
she said that he did. He made all the locks.
Nope.
Okay.
I try to. Oh.
Oh, you already have a good book card. Yeah, these in an increasing or a decreasing severity of difficulty with these locks, Uncle Jimmy. The safe was much less difficult than the commission piece by Paltrow. Now these are like your standard fare, right, Uncle Jimmy? This is like, you could do this asleep. You quickly unlock it. This is very simple. Just to keep people from coming into people's private rooms while they sleep in the night at a typical inn. Nothing special.
Yeah, this is his work. He's downplaying it. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so are there like a maker's mark on there or something like that? Because he seemed to believe that people could find him by his work.
Nothing that stands out that would denote that it's maybe by Paltrow.
Shit, I should have asked that when it came up there.
I mean, you imagine that you can hear the sound of conversation, like kind of hushed conversation happening from downstairs. You imagine that the barkeep and some of the other patrons are still down there. Like the whole inn isn't vacant or anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we need.
You see the bartender beginning to head back up the steps and says, "Well, was able to calm down the folks downstairs. Seems like a false alarm."
It couldn't be. There's no possible way we all simultaneously sleepwalked and opened up our windows. That's insane.
She kind of cocks her head and sees Opie trying to kind of hold himself together and says, "Well, maybe some of y'all drink more than others. I tend to get that sometimes. We get a surly patron or a traveler who is new to the town who likes to be a little more festive than would typically be and does some things in the evening that they may not remember. It's possible."
Or maybe the window was just already open and you just forgot, Mr. Lincoln.
I checked with the people downstairs. None of them were missing anything. Checked every rooms. No other signs of a scuffle or anyone hurt or wounded. How are all your things? Your belongings still there? Anything taken?
We found.
Talk to a few guys.
It seems that a log upon my person was found in another room that I was not occupying at the time. It's curious how one object locates itself from one place to another.
I mean, I suppose that is a little strange, but I wouldn't necessarily call that theft.
It's impossible is what it is.
I think your room over here has got, might have to shut down for a few days, and I slowly take her to my room and hand her 5 gold and say, I think you might have to have a few renovations, and I kind of gesture to the floor.
She looks down at the floor and sees the etching into the wood. Oh, did you do that?
If I did, that's what the 5 gold's for. If I didn't, well, we'll find out who did. And they'll give you more to repair it.
Don't Forg. Is that what y'all travelers call it? It's just some humor. Look, yeah, I'll close the room off. I get it. I'll keep it locked. I'll get this fixed up. It looks pretty superficial. Everything will be fine. I think everything's all right. Be honest with y'all, I can't exactly explain it, but you know, I think the worst thing that could happen here in this town is some petty theft, and it doesn't appear that even that's happened. So everyone's still in one piece. Everyone's still got their things. Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of it, but everything seems okay otherwise.
And we're being honest, we're not forging around here.
My apologies for the disturbance.
No, it's a wake-up call. Y'all certainly make sure to keep an eye out in the evening and have a way to wake everyone in quite a certain mile radius up, I'm sure. But you know, better safe than sorry. It is strange. I think I may, that locksmith Poutra, I think I may give him a call one of these days and see if he can't maybe add a little extra security on some of the window seals. I'd be more worried if we were out in the middle of nowhere, but this is Epicedium, so like I said, I don't assume it's anything bad.
He produces good work.
I've heard.
Is that who Major Door handles?
Oh no one of his talent.
Specialized.
I needed to go for something a little more affordable when setting this whole place up.
Of course.
But now I am seriously considering maybe getting him to do a little extra work, just in case. Worst I'm worried about is someone waking up and not having any of their belongings to them, especially a particularly wealthy traveler. I wouldn't want that happening. So, extra security, sure, a lesson learned, but otherwise, things seem all right.
Well then, we shall let you get back to your evening, whatever is left of it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try and see what patrons I can convince to come back upstairs and get the rest of their night's sleep. Y'all are welcome to continue your sleep. I understand it may not be the most comfortable considering the situation, but you know, like I said, I'm always here to keep an eye over things, and I'll probably I can't really sleep from here on out, so I'll probably keep an eye out downstairs. So if y'all want to continue watch up here, we'll keep an eye on things.
I'm gonna stay in Jimmy's room for the rest of the night.
Okay.
I don't need to sleep anymore because you said it's been 6 hours, right?
It's been about 6 hours. We could go ahead and
so-
say you've got your long rest in for what you've needed. So.
Okay.
So. Yes.
I think, Jimmy, whatever happened in your room that caused that scratch on the floor was a good idea. Perhaps if we can't trust our memory and we're truly forgetting things, the first thing we should do tomorrow, we should all purchase a notebook and something to write with.
Jimmy pulls out some of his cartography paper and pulls the little side and starts writing down what happened. Just a quick note or two.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
What did the thing by Jimmy say? One more time.
It said, "Don't F-O-R-G," and the blade was stuck at the end of the G.
Which is either don't forge, or seems more likely to be don't forget. Which makes sense considering Lock Guy couldn't remember his wife, and wife was having nightmares she couldn't remember.
Yeah. There's a lot of that memory stuff. Well, I think we ought to have a frank discussion of what we think about things, because there seems to be a lot of confusion about. Many minds make easy work or something like that. Ideas so far on who might have done the break-ins?
I got nothing.
There was more than 2 windows that were opened, right, Jason?
It appeared to be a total of 3.
A full
Okay.
window open next to you, a full window open in the vacant room on your side, and then the cracked window in Jimmy's room.
Well, it seems likely that it was more than one person then, if it was a person, and not just like a weird magic thing that happened.
Yes.
Or like something airborne. Because like if you were one person, you would need one entrance and one exit. There would be no reason to have an extra window open.
Yeah, it'd be hard to use a third. Well, I suspect the locksmith only because we haven't anything better. Surely bypassing locks this simple would be child's play for him.
I mean, the windows aren't even locked, are they?
Correct.
Well,
Oh. But we're on
No,
the second
the-
story.
The windows on the interior are locked.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Okay. I misunderstood what she said then.
Well, she was talking about some enhanced security on them.
Yeah.
when Jiren, we're staying at the inn that Jiren asked us to, right?
Yeah. He at least mentioned, hey, there's a nice little inn in town. You should stay there for the night. You assume that this is probably the one, since it's kind of in the more well-traveled center square here.
This is a curious case.
We're on the second story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it seems highly unlikely unless we're dealing with ninja wizards with memory magic. It was just like weird burglary things. We need more
Yeah.
clues.
I appear to be very clueless. Well then,
Lincoln just suggests again tomorrow everybody gets some sort of writing utensil and something to write with.
a good
Take
idea.
copious notes.
Tyne's paper's just gonna say his name over and over and over again.
Tyne. And then at the bottom, the top's gonna say Tyne, and then at the bottom it's gonna say R.
Is everyone doing anything else, or are you all trying to settle down for the rest of the night's sleep? What's happening?
I'm gonna take one more search around my room, an investigation check, like a good 10-15 minutes, and then just try to curl up and get another couple hours of sleep.
And then Lincoln,
Oh.
are you in Uncle Jimmy's room? Is that what you said?
Yeah, and I am just wide awake, just kind
Okay.
of milling about, being
Okay.
creepy.
I am going to. Professor Burke is going to put a hand on the side of Jimmy's head and says, "Remember your dreams. Just try to remember. Tell yourself to remember." And as he pulled his hand away, he actually tried to put a mark on Jimmy's head, just so that he would notice and nobody else could. Just kind of like a memento token. Or a inception token to kind of maybe trigger a I know this is dream time.
Sure. Spin the top,
Nice.
Uncle Jimmy.
Jimmy
Um,
is the
There's too
top.
many bananas. There's too many bananas.
the rest of you begin to settle down for the rest of the evening, hoping that there's probably some more success during light time when you can actually see. You, Uncle Jimmy, after scanning your room one more time, spending a couple minutes doing it, not really seeing anything else out of place, begin to kind of decide to, try and get whatever last bits of sleep you can before the morning comes. You can continue to be as well rested as possible for this investigation. You kind of curl up into your bed and fall back asleep. Lincoln, you, in the closed door of Jimmy's room, just sort of stand at attention, waiting for anything. Are you where are you sentried at? Are you looking at the front door? What's happening?
I'm looking at the window.
Okay. there is a... You see complete blackness. Another hour passes to 7 blight time. And it's at that point that Uncle Jimmy, at the darkness of the window, you see a black gloved hand come up to the outside of the window and just taps it very subtly, as if only to get your attention, and then the hand moves outside of you.
I see this.
No, you're sleeping. Unless you said you're up and awake. I thought you were going to sleep.
I grip Jimmy's face with my bony hand and shake him awake.
There's a hand on the window.
I take a look outside.
You unlock your window and just slide it up as silently as possible, and you poke your head out, Uncle Jimmy. You turn to the left, turn to the right. You can only barely make out like the foot or two away from you of the top of the roof tiling here before it just goes into pitch black darkness. You don't see any figure, you don't see any dark black gloved hand, but you do see what looks like an envelope of some type of letter that seems wedged in between the window seal and the actual window frame itself.
Okay.
I grab the envelope and look to Lincoln and kind of give him the finger over the mouth. Shh. You know, don't make any noise, and slowly close the window and kind of sit in bed and open it up and start reading it.
Opening up the note as you unfurl it, it is written in ink on parchment, and it says, "No one else will understand. Hoping you can be the ones to help solve this." There is an address listed after that that seems to lead you back to the not residential area, but a sort of like, these were 2 points, the relatively central area of the marketplace plaza, and then the residential. This place that's mentioned in the address is sort of at the third triangular point, a place that seems even less visited than residential. It mentions an address here, and it says, "Bring yourself and your 6 other party members. Meet me here ASAP."
Wait,
6 other.
but there's only been 6 of us total since we've began.
You don't think they mean that little frog in the cage or the frickin' plant monster, do you?
We should tell the others.
Yeah. I think I got enough sleep from the night.
Anyway, the following morning, we would like tell everyone immediately that shit's going on.
So
Yeah.
there's still 5 hours of darkness before light time. Do you wait until light time, or do you tell them now? What would you like to do? I'm not saying you have to do either. I'm just telling you what time it currently is. It's still in the middle of being blight time.
Have we
Businesses
rested?
won't open. Yeah, we've rested. Businesses won't open till it's light out.
You assume, probably just because of the necrotic nature of the darkness, that most people do not want to be outside. Even with the street lights, it's probably just a means to make sure no one takes damage, but it seems like most townsfolk do not want to mess with the blight time. Everyone seemed to shuffle out pretty quickly from the tavern when nighttime rolled around, so you imagine that there's not going to be too much action until 5 hours from now.
I don't have any good ideas then. I think we should just wait till it's light out so we can actually do stuff. But before then, sometime before then, Jimmy and I tell everyone and show the letter.
So we'll say before waiting until the morning, getting this information here only an hour after all those events that just happened with the doll going off, you again wake up everyone, as some of you are more probably sleepy-eyed than others who had just begun to kind of enter your REM sleep after falling asleep for an hour or so. Uncle Jimmy and Lincoln waking you up and share this note with you all.
Oh, 5 more minutes. I'm curious.
Could you think of anything that could represent a 7th party?
Well, the only one we've ever traveled with is Jared. I imagine that he would be the one. He belongs to the city. Perhaps he knows something we do not.
It could be the Lord of Toads.
Oh, of course. How would I discount such a magnificent soul?
Opie holds up his cage.
Wait. What if there's always been a 7th, and we forgot?
What? This...
I don't know how that works, but it sounds cool.
It does sound cool, I hope.
I'll be honest, I really don't remember much of last night. Am I the only one? Or do you guys feel that way too?
We all feel that way, Little Warrior. It's part of becoming a legendary one.
Okay.
You learn to become a warrior. Now learn to become a legend.
You, Lincoln, that little screaming doll, that's not like... Now don't start screaming if I ask. That's not like your friend or your mom or your somebody, is it? It's just a doll, right?
No, it's not alive, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I looked at Tyne. You got any imaginary friends? I didn't think so. Okay.
Tyne. R.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Well, we go to the address, right?
I want to go to the general store and get everybody that doesn't have paper and pen that first once it's light out. And Lincoln wants to. Lincoln will Lincoln, famous for taking complete shots in the dark, suggests that if we all have different languages, we should all write our notebooks in different languages. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that'll be something that matters. But Lincoln knows Sylvan, so he's writing his in Sylvan.
I was gonna say, so are we trying to not overlap or to overlap?
I think as long as we have some sort of variety, it's fine.
Okay.
Morphin.
I'll choose Giant.
We go to a general store, Jason.
Okay, so are you waiting until light time to do this so that the shops open up? Okay.
Yeah.
So unsure of what happened in the previous night, unsure of what went on, those of you trying to scrounge out the last few hours left before the blight time dissipates and light time comes, knowing that you'll probably be able to cover more ground with the twilight above you lighting things and as life returns back to the city proper. A strange evening in a somewhat idyllic town, a mystery ahead of you as you attempt to solve what exactly is going on here. That is where we would draw this session to a close.
The seven party members got me shook, man. What if we forgot, or worse, what if somebody's been with us the whole time and we haven't noticed them?
When I looked behind me, there were 7 sets of footprints in this thing.
it's the Jesus joke, because I was carrying.
Yeah, confounded for sure.
It's been both Tyne and R.
There's 2 of them.
Some stuff to consider and think about. But that is it for our session tonight. I had a lot of fun in a more roleplay, puzzly thing. We've been doing a lot of traversing in this campaign, a lot of hex crawl stuff, so it's nice to slow down a little bit and do these kind of what we do in our main campaign, these fun bite-sized romps with these situations that go on in encounters. I'm getting distracted by Amanda's nose. Thank you everyone for stopping into the chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you who stopped by and supported the channel. Thank you Lazy Vengeance and Discordian and Parallax Knight and Mama Bear and all of those who stopped by. Mousy, thank you all. Poochie Mane, thank you all for stopping in and hanging out with us. Mecha Hydra, really appreciate it. I hope you had fun. Please join us next week. We should have I think we're gonna have a full party, right? Is anybody due out next week, or are we gonna get everyone back together?
We have everybody, as far as I know.
Okay,
It'll be good next week.
cool.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
that'll be
well,
fun.
we should have Kevin back next week, and then we'll have a full party too. Maybe, hopefully, figure out exactly what the mystery is going on here in Epicedium. What some strange things happening here. We'll figure it out next week. But thank you all so much for hanging out. Make sure, if you haven't already, to give the channel a follow if you enjoy the content here. We are quickly building up to that 750 follower mark. Help me reach that milestone, but more importantly, maybe get notifications on when the channel goes live and just be a part of the community. Go check out my links over here if you have not already, so you can join the Discord and hang out in there. I'm building a mixture of D&D and like a legally distinct Pokemon experience over the week time. So if you want to help me playtest that right now, I've got enough stuff put together where it's in the beta playtesting phase. Come join me Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern time so we can start playtesting this and get it ready. It is going to be a Twitch interactive experience. So all of you in the chat will be the players. It's super fun. I'm super excited to share more with you, so go check that out if you haven't already. Go over to the Discord so you can see up-to-date stuff. I have a new channel just for that, and go see my my latest progress on it. So in the meantime, we're headed out for the evening. I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Drink plenty of water, stretch your legs, take care of yourselves, because I want you to be healthy, happy, and safe, so that you can join us next time for more Lucent Odyssey. Let's really quickly, before I sign off, I'm going to sign off here, but we're going to go raid somebody. So those of you who want more D&D, stick around. But we're signing off. Goodbye, everybody!
Bye.
What do you guys think happened?
One of the players Robbie played with got carried away and killed him.
Well, that's kind of far out.
Mazes and Monsters is a far-out game. Swords, poison, spells, battles, maiming, killing.
Hey, it's all imagination.
Is it?